Captain Charley grips the wheel, she's fiercer than they come. Leaves old Jack Sparrow in her wake when she beats that battle drum. Mold, maladies, and Morgellons. Ah! Captain Charley's battling black moldy beard, black moldy beard, black moldy beard, black moldy beard. Ah! Yo ho! Ah! Yo ho!
Yo ho! What is up, everybody? Mold, maladies, and Morgellons. I don't know if you even heard that little tune, Charlie, but did you catch it?
My computer's acting all fucked up, so I might need to restart.
All right. Well, you totally missed out because that was a fun little thing that I put together. But what is happening, everybody? So this is technically part 2. We covered this in BOOMA STREAMA. What is this? I think this is 41. So it was 39. But we'll recap what we talked about in that if you didn't catch that show. And yeah, we got quite the presentation here that Charlie's put together. So I hope you guys are all doing well. It's nice seeing you all rolling in. On the Rumble, we're good. Looks like we're live on the Rumble, on the YouTube, and the Substack. We are good to go. Charlie, what is your situation?
How's my audio?
You sounded good. I had to kick you out of the other one and then bring you back on. I don't know what you got going on, but you're here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I should restart the computer.
Well, if you want to do that, then we can go around and just chat a little bit. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Say hello to everybody, and I'll be back in 5 seconds.
All right. Captain's got to take a little breaksy to the whatever they call that. What do they call that room on a ship? What is it?
You sound like a robot to me.
I do?
Yeah, me too.
Anybody else?
Everyone sounds like a robot.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to leave too and come back.
Check.
Okay. We'll be back.
Dawn sounds fine. Do I sound like a robot?
Not to me.
All right. So just restart the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Charlie, I'm going to kick you out and then you can come back in. Well, what's up? Slamtastic. Are you still okay, you're here. And then
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome everybody. Mike's been on it's been a little while, bro, but it's good to see you here. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, sir? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you back. So you made the Ohio class, right, with Sabrina?
I did. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
We'll look forward to talking about that on the reunion because you got to get your butt there. That'll be great. And then Don D, what's happening?
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here
today. Yeah, man.
Good
We got Patrice here. Everybody's got to get excited. Pat Rice, Patrice. What do we call you again?
Patrice.
Patrice. Okay. What's happening? How you doing?
Hey, good to see you. I mean, I see you all the time. Good to be here with you.
Awesome. Glad to have you. Yeah, the BOOMA streamers have changed a little bit. They're now BOOMA community streamers, and then people like Charlie and whatnot putting together awesome presentations. So bringing people on to educate and share the knowledge that they have, which is something that I always kind of wanted to do with this channel. I didn't really want it to be about me. Wanted to be more about community and have other people on because I never claim to be an expert. I'll tell you about being in a cult. I'll tell you about being sucked into psyops, and then I'll tell you how to get the fuck out of them and give you a place to come after you've dealt with all the hopium bullshit that's out there. So I'm glad that you guys all made it here and that hopefully we're disconnecting from all the bullshit because there's too much of it out there. Yeah, fantastic. When are we going to do another sound bath healing session?
Oh, I got to get into the office. It's been a little bit since I've been at the office.
Has it? Probably good.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of different camping trips and stuff. And so by the time I get home, I'm literally unpacking and then we're packing and then I'm heading out for another weekend. So I'm like, I got to get back in the office.
That's all good. All good. But yeah, Patrice, where have you been?
Oh, I've been here. I've just been really busy, but I keep up with all of you guys all the time. And when you say when you just said a minute ago about leaving the bullshit, I was so grateful for Sabrina's little 5-minute video about the flock stuff. Did you see that?
The flock stuff? Was that today?
No, yesterday or the day before, because all my community, they're all up in the Board of Supervisors meetings. They're fighting the flock cameras. They have no idea how deep everything goes.
Oh, yeah.
And then Sabrina comes on and says, flock cameras, irrelevant.
Right.
I love it.
That's pretty much everything. Like, I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing, like we're going to get into Morgellons and some of this stuff. Then there's the heavy metals, and then there's like the graphene. And Sabrina always says they like to blow that one out of proportion because it's only one of the metamaterials that are the issue. But it's like these towers and these CCTV things, these cameras and stuff like that. Anything that's like that we have access to in the sense that we could do something physically to it. It's not that it's not doing something, because it is, but you're just going to catch yourself a case and you're going to get locked away because they really don't even need that shit if they don't want to.
Well, and like she says, it's already deployed, and that when counties are winning, having flock cameras removed and all that, that's all for show. It's all theater. It's to keep everybody spinning, and that's really it's a challenge. I'm so grateful to that little 5-minute video, man. I sent it to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
She'll do some longer ones. She'll do some 20 to 30-minute ones, and then she'll drop some 5 to 7-minute one kind of things. And there's always something that's popping up. And people share a lot of stuff with me, but a lot of times I can't speak to this stuff like she can. So like when they send it to her, she's bam, just popping them out. If you're on the Synergy Telegram, man, you could watch. I mean, I've joked with Sabrina where you should just do 24/7. You just have a camera on, whatever's on your mind. People will watch all day, every day. I swear. But they send her stuff, and then she's like, "Oh, gotta address this. Oh, gotta address this." I hope she doesn't drive herself nuts. But she actually kind of she likes to inform people, and so as long as she's enjoying it. Everyone still sounds choppy, but it's cool, huh, Charlie?
Yeah.
What's the deal? Do you got headphones?
I don't know. Is everybody else clear to one another?
Yeah.
You sound fine coming through to me, Charlie.
I hear you clear.
Check.
I can't hear. Mike's super choppy. Dorian's a little choppy.
What? Like that?
Yep, like that.
Is that what it's like? Are you serious?
Yeah.
So do you have another device? Like you could totally mute this and then listen to it on another device, and you'll hear that I sound so smooth, Charlie, you don't even know.
Okay. Let's see.
Smooth tones with D Boomason on D Mind to Boomason's Rumble channel, YouTube, and Substack, where the Naughty Ninja podcast is hosted. I'm coming through loud and clear.
Smooth jazz.
That's good.
At you.
That's good. I like that in you.
Okay, how you doing now, Charlie? Can you hear us all right? Your computer sucks. There you go. There's the show. And Patrice, I'm gonna have to mute you when you do that shit. Charlie, what are we gonna do? You're the captain.
I know. God damn it. Here we go. We're just gonna do it.
Hold on, though. Hold on. Is there feedback? Okay, so you got the headphones in. That's one thing, but you got to change it to your headphones now in the StreamYard if you want them to actually work.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
I took the headphones out.
Why?
Because they weren't helping. They didn't change anything.
Because you didn't change the setting.
Oh. Mic setting.
So yeah, so if the mic's plugged in, then you go to that little gear icon, audio, and then you need to pick mic, and then you need to choose your headphones. Well, you need to change them to the speakers and for the mic, because it looks like you have a little mic on there, right?
Default microphone. Okay, let's give it
one more try.
I was going to say, Booma had to help me through all of this when I was trying to do my sound stuff because my computer was doing so many weird things. Drivers weren't installing, and it was being stupid. So,
And a lot of y'all like to just be here to chat, hang out in the community, right? So this is how it goes. This is real people. There's a lot of channels that be like, this is real talk. And it's like, no, it isn't. You guys are scripted. You guys are all professional. This is real people just trying to connect with real devices, real struggles, and we're working through them. And I hope you guys can appreciate that. This is real shit.
This is real shit. Shit to make you feel shit.
There you go.
Here we go.
do keep hearing bing bongs. Oh yeah, there is a bing bong going on. Someone's got some bing bongs going on. And Heather's back. Heather brings the bing bong. She's got little like tones that'll pop up every once in a while. Heather brings the bing bongs. That kind of sounds kind of funny.
I thought the sound might have been Charlie's computer at first, but
somebody's got one of those little things that make like a notification thing that rings. So if you got that turned on and you can turn it off, that'd be great. Otherwise, just mute yourself when you're not talking. Heather, can you you hear us all right?
Can't hear Heather at all.
I can't hear Heather at all either.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh out loud.
Son of a bitch! It's the feds, you guys.
It's the feds.
They're after us. They're after us.
All right, but Charlie, did you get your settings fixed?
Yeah, it sounds like remotely better, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we're gonna find out, y'all, if we can make this happen no matter what. So let's get it started.
It's just choppy seas. It's choppy seas.
Yes,
we're
it's
pirates.
choppy seas. We're pirates on a pirate ship, and it's turbulent waters. So everybody get ready and buckle up, or grab your nearest rope, hopefully attached to something that's going to stay on the ship.
Yeah. We'll weather the storm together, mateys.
Exactly. All right. So it looks like we got a little recap. This is the first thing to take into consideration. I'm going to pass it off to Charlie, but don't panic.
Yeah. I mean, the subject matter for everyone who was here last time, it's pretty dense, and this is not to incite any paranoia in people. All of these things we're talking about today have actionable steps for everybody to, mitigate their own scenario, to improve their situation, whatever it is. So, I try to stay out of the weeds and out of the fear psyops, the fear porn on these topics, because there's a lot of it, and it's in the zeitgeist. Mold is in the zeitgeist all over. With This Is or the Last of Us, not This Is Us, the Last of Us, with just all the mold stories right now in media. Ohio had a big aspergill, or what did they have? They had a big Candida auris explosion that just happened. Of course, there's always yellow fever and all kinds of aspergillosis situations happening everywhere. So it's a relevant topic for everybody to get informed about, because these frequencies are really hitting people so hard. As we know from the last video, that antagonizes measurably mold growth. So this will clarify and go a little bit deeper into the HOWs of that. If there's anybody in here who hasn't seen that first one, go ahead and check that one out too, because it will provide some foundational information.
Yeah, it helped a lot of people. I got a lot of good comments on that show. This is great work. Please know that if you're like a note taker or whatever, take screenshots as these things come up, or it's a video so you can go back and grab them or whatnot. And then I'll make chapters on YouTube at least so that you can find certain sections. But if you're a note taker, please take snapshots. We're not going to read everything on every, we'll talk about it more as opposed to just reading to you guys and keep this going. But you mentioned The Last of Us, and if you guys don't know about it, it was a really popular video game. They might even have made a second one, but regardless, they have an HBO series, and it's a kind of a take on zombies and these like zombie monsters that has to do with fungus. Very popular right now, so that's coming out. New take on zombies, but a lot of this fungus stuff, it's kind of wild. You mentioned some a word or what was it?
Aspergillus. It's one
What
of the
is
most
that?
common. It's a really common mold that a lot of people have pretty severe reactions to. It's one of the most predominant ones with like house mold in living spaces. Aspergillus and Stachybotrys are two of the most prevalent ones that can be the most damaging.
Is that one at all like black mold? Is it a black mold?
Stachybotrys is black mold. Aspergillus is, there's a bunch of different strains of Aspergillus, but it's not typically black. I don't believe that one is harder to detect because of that, from what I understand.
One my little intro that you missed, you were talking about how Captain Charley fights black moldy beard. So that is your opponent.
You called juxtaposition black moldy beard?
I did call juxtaposition, just to be clear in this one. I left him out of the intro. However, the lead up to this and the short that it still remains and will remain on YouTube that does include juxtaposition was all Charley's doing. It was me. I'm gonna troll Juxta all day, every day. So, anyways, we just have a little bit of fun. But no, black moldy beard doesn't fit Juxta. He's whitey. He's got that white hair.
Yeah, I'll check it out at the end.
Yeah. Actually, we'll have it at the closing of the show. We'll also include it because I wouldn't say I wasted. It turned out okay. I wasn't as happy with it, but a lot of these programs to make these things, they cost a lot of credits, which is actually dollars. So I kept that intro, and we're gonna rock it as we go for the outro as well. But you are Captain Charley fighting black moldy beard.
Great, I got it.
There we go. Maybe we'll make a little. I'll make a little photo with white face, moldy beard, Juxta.
Oh my God.
All right. So this is a serious topic. However, we do try to have fun here because otherwise it'd be depressing. And yeah, there it is. But yes, he was the general. Is better as the general than Davy Jones. The Davy Jones was coming in and out. But as the general, that worked out pretty well. He had a nice accent. So anyways, continue on. Do we need to go to the next slide?
This is just the quote from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy about the book.
Right. And so anybody that watched the first episode, this will be a little bit of a recap for the first ones just to get us back into this mindset to realize how much this is affecting our lives and maybe the lives of friends and family, and some of the illnesses that people have that they might not even know what the cause is. This might shed some light on it. And this will, if you didn't watch the first show, still be good for you to continue hanging out with us, watch this, and then maybe go back and watch the first one. So go ahead.
All right. So we've got fungus fashion frequency part 1 review. What we've got going here at the top is just the research link to the study about mold producing more biotoxins when it's in an electromagnetic field. Oxidative stress, free radicals cause cellular damage. We clarified what both of those things were, oxidative stress and free radicals. Oxidative stressors include EMF and radio frequency, mycotoxins, endotoxins. Mycotoxins come from mold, endotoxins come from bacteria. Both of them are neurotoxic. Heavy metals, pesticides, of course, anger, fear, and chronic stress. Sabrina talks a lot about how neurotoxic those things are as well, and that is no small thing. EMFs and molds both individually cause physiological and neurological dysfunction and degeneration via oxidative damage. Things like anxiety, depression, delirium, panic, paranoia, rage, aggression, hallucinations, schizoaffective disorders, dementias, and seizures can all be linked to, not always are, but can be linked to molds and EMFs due to mold colonization in the neurocortex. Molds produce neurotoxic mycotoxins as a defense mechanism. So it's not the mold that's the problem, it's the mycotoxins it produces. And certain molds produce worse mycotoxins than others. EMFs greatly impact mold, fungal, and yeast growth and mycotoxin production in the environment. For example, black mold produces 20 to 40 mycotoxins in 24 hours. And when it's in a magnetic field or electromagnetic field or Wi-Fi, it produces 2,000 mycotoxins per 24 hours. Huge difference. Just putting a petri dish of mold next to an electromagnetic field. And that tells us so much. That's fundamental. Because mold wasn't as big of a problem before, I wager, before we had our whole world saturated in this swamp frequencies. In the last 10 years, the measured density of electromagnetic fields that we're continuously exposed to has risen several million times. EMF exposure triggers mold and fungal colonization and release of mycotoxins in the body. Sugar, starches, things like that feed fungi and yeast in the body. Molds and fungi thrive in dampness and stagnancy. And we wrapped it up with some paranormal stuff. Testing of haunted locations detected 5 to 6 more mold spores, which is incredible. That research is pretty provocative, but that is not to discount the paranormal experiences that people are having. That can be another level. 2 things can be true at once. So I'm really excited for the paranormal panel so we can get deeper into that. And I don't want anybody to feel like their experiences are being, written off as, oh, it's just mold, or oh, it's just frequencies. Things are more dynamic than that generally. So that's it for the review.
Awesome. So there you go. We'll get you all caught up on what we talked about, and then you can go back and get a more in-depth look at some of this that we covered in the first one. We got some really great panels that are coming up. We got Masters of the Universe. So going into some of the superheroes and what some of that stuff really means. But then we also, like Charlie just mentioned, we're going to go into the paranormal. And I think you touched on that a little bit in the first one, where the EMF, the molds and stuff like that are causing people to hallucinate and causing some of this stuff that is experienced as paranormal. It's like, are they using some of this stuff to cause the hallucinations, to cause us to go through some of this stuff? There's all kinds of stuff that's talked about out there, and some of this is part of the discussion. So very fascinating and something to be aware of.
Yeah.
All right.
And as you were doing the recap, I had a question. I'm like, so in the cases of where you're looking at apartment buildings, each one of the units now has their own modem and their own Wi-Fi signal. Now, is that the reason why tons of these apartments are literally starting to mold up in them, because there's so much excess frequency? Because I have a friend of mine who's living in an apartment and it's covered in mold, and it never used to. And she's been in that building for years.
Yeah, definitively, yes. I mean, the studies all show that it's incredibly provocative to the release of mycotoxins and the proliferation of mold. So definitively, yes, I'd say. I have so many friends. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and the more that this technology comes out, it seems like it gets worse, right?
Yeah.
Because you're changing the radioactive waves of the stuff that's in the air.
Yep. Both in living spaces. Yep. Both in the living spaces and in the body. People are having more systemic fungal infections in the body as well. So, but yeah, we could go into the first chapter if y'all are ready.
Seize him, Aaargh.
I thought you'd hit that hard. Nice.
To the plank he goes.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're such a good pirate. Yeah, so this is just about fascia and fasces. Fascia being what's in our body, and fasces being, linked back to the Roman fasces. And this is a linguistic and conceptual convergence, having a look at the similarities between fascia and fasces. So we can switch to the next one.
All right. It kind of sounds like you're saying fat cheese.
Well, it sounds like you're saying gene decode when you say GG code.
GG code. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
We're working on some new ways to present it. You know what I'm saying? You guys
Yeah.
know, like, so we got GG Co going, and some people were complaining. I also think that it could be a forever troll on that little bitch, though. So fuck him. The better we do, the more his name gets out there, and we can troll the shit out of him. But you know, like Cola could be like GG Co.
Ooh, I like that.
See, I got some ideas. We can't use that one, obviously. Do you guys remember Yahoo? Yahoo, right?
Ooh,
So I gotta work
this
with
is
some of these.
exciting.
Make a little jingles for the GG Co. GG Co. Oh, you do some things.
That's a really good idea because then everybody will get into it.
And everybody can stop telling me that it sounds like Gene Decode.
It sounds a little like Gene Decode.
Stop it. Boo liquor, brown shirt, Karen.
Yeah. So this is a Roman soldier. The words fascia and fascism both come from the Latin word fasces, which first referred to leather straps, then to a bundle of sticks held together by the leather straps, and then later in Rome incorporating the axe. In ancient Rome, the fasces symbolized political power, law, jurisdiction, physical totem that was toted around by Roman soldiers. The fasces was notoriously revitalized by the National Fascist Party in Italy in 1921 under the theory of strength in numbers, but it was largely eclipsed by the swastika. Today, hardly anyone recognizes a fasces, even though it's everywhere in political and military iconography, local law enforcement, despite the negative associations historically. So we're just going to have a look at how prevalent it is. You can do the next slide.
This is crazy though, because it seems like you're tying it a little bit to fascists, like you're saying they're the National Fascist Party. Linguistically, English is a crazy language because of all the connections that are made with various words. But the fascia being something they don't talk nearly enough about in the medical world, which is the cause of a lot of people's pain and problems. And then you're seeing a lot with a lot of these movements and stuff that's going on in the world. Capitalism's all this stuff's turning into fascism. It's kind of crazy right before our eyes.
Yep.
All right, let me pull up the next one. Yeah, here we go.
The slides aren't.
What's that?
Go ahead.
What were we
The
saying?
slides aren't showing up, but I have them right here. So you'll just have to tell me when the next slide's up.
You don't see the slides?
No, that happened before too.
Oh my goodness.
But I have them right. I don't need to. I have them right here.
All right, that's just very strange.
Oh, now it's back. Okay, so I see it again.
Okay.
It's the fucking fence.
It's the fucking feds.
So the fasces symbolizes strength in numbers, which is the literal form and function of the fascia and fascicles in our body. And you can see the similarities between the fascia on the left of this image, pardon the cadaver, and the Roman fasces on the right, the sculpture. You can see the similarities there. And I'm all about looking at patterns and parallels. So we can move to the next one.
And then if anybody has anything to say in between and that you want to, or a question to ask, please jump in.
Yes, please do.
It's all about pattern recognition.
Right?
Agreed.
Is that Pat? Yeah. Okay. That's right, Pat. All right. So here we
Patrice, please.
Patrice. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was Pat Rice. Patrice makes more sense. There we go. My apologies, Patrice.
That's my incognito way of being.
So Pat Rice is your incognito. It's out of the bag though, and you just want to be known as Patrice. Okay.
That's my name.
My name.
Nice.
Thank you. Carry on. Sorry.
Thank you, Pat Rice.
Sorry. Damn it.
No, actually, pet rice is a term of endearment that my friends used to always call me. So I love it when you guys
Oh,
call me
nice.
that. But I do want you to know what my real name is.
Of course.
Absolutely. The feds know now, though, so just so you know.
No, the fucking feds.
Fucking feds, man.
Internet's forever. All right. So we've got.
Well, if they weren't
here-
messing with this show, you know what I'm saying? It's the fucking feds.
Yeah.
JK knows. Say fucking no to the feds.
Hi, JK.
What's up, JK? Go ahead, Charlie. Sorry.
No worries. So these are just some stamps from the, the Second World War. Authorities have used the image of the fasces as a symbol of supreme authority since the end of the Roman Empire. It's also been used to harken back to the Roman Republic, particularly by those who see themselves as a modern day successor to the old Republic and supreme rulership. The fasci symbolism was also used by the Axis power of Europe, both before and during World War I. The axe in the fasces is the origin of the term Axis powers for the fascist countries in the Second World War, symbolizing people and countries bound together under a common centralized dictatorship. So that's what that bundle of sticks with the axe in it means. Moving on to fasci symbolism in America. In the next slide. If you're ready, Dorian. I just know there's so many slides. I'm trying to be somewhat efficient, but if I'm rushing, you can slow me down. Uh-oh. Am I frozen? God damn it.
But anyways, JK's over here saying, I think it's your computer, Charlie. Can you hear me?
You're not.
I can now.
Okay. JK was saying like he has like 50 stamp albums, and it's crazy how much the symbolism shows up in these old stamps. That's crazy.
I bet.
That is freaking nuts. Okay, let me open up the next slide here.
Well, that just goes to what you said on the last one, Booma, when you were asking the question. No telling how long they've been at this. They've been at this forever. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And this.
And now we can see it.
Yep.
Now we can see it. Exactly.
Agreed.
Crazy. Go ahead.
Okay. So these are just, I know a lot of this is review for people in this community, but these are just some images of fasces in America in some of our symbolism from the state of Colorado, the U.S. Senate, administrative offices of U.S. courts, the National Sheriff's Association, the Knights of Columbus, who are directly connected to Freemasonry and Rome through the Jesuit order, and the Department of Air Force National Guard Bureau. And the fact that these symbols are still dominating these institutions so overtly lends evidence to the successful anesthetization and submission of the populace. Like, people don't see it, particularly given how otherwise averse we are to fascism as Americans. Why don't we ever point at this? And
I think
my theory is because we're just anesthetized. We just don't.
part of it is, I think, that how many companies rebrand or relogo all the time, keep a fraction of the previous logo in there, but change it just slightly to keep averting so that you can't see the symbolism or can't see the stuff through it. Because I know so many corporations will spend the money on rebranding and reorganizing and redoing their logo all the time. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Your logo is great.
And I'm seeing a lot of consistency right now with the symbol that's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I'd have to go get the photo I took. So the bank in town here and the Pfizer logo, they're very, 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 very similar. Like that Pfizer logo, that like this goes this way and this goes this way. I'm seeing that everywhere.
Here, I'll pull it up real quick.
It's a new, I saw a new commercial. There it is. Yep.
So you're talking about this?
Yep. And so there's a bank, there's a local bank here that's not, you know, central or whatever. I don't know, but that's their fucking logo.
Is it because they're getting paid by Pfizer?
Could be.
I know, man. It seems like pharma is running the world at this point, banking and then through pharma. And then here's another good thing that JK pointed out to think about when you talk about fascism. They push it through with Operation Paperclip. Or is that part of a psyop? I don't know. What do you guys think? Because you have all the Germans that came from World War II, you know, coming over to the United States, especially, and bringing a lot of the fascism that some of them, that a lot of them were pushing. Kind of wild. Let me go back to your slide, though. I don't think you were done. There we go. Can you hear me, Charley?
I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So that's it for that one. The next one with the 1940s dime.
Okay. And like I said, if anybody wants to take snapshots of this or do what you got to do if you're a big time note taker. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Mike knows what I'm saying. Good to have you back, Mike. Here we go. 1940s Mercury Dime.
So you can see the fasces overtly in the dime. And whenever you see the fascia with laurel wreath, it signifies that the government using it proclaims that they have been freely given absolute reign by the citizens and that the people recognize and submit to their supreme authority. So it's bold as hell to be putting this everywhere. And you know, they can coerce you into giving over your own, oh gosh, autonomy and scare you into behaviors that will align you, voting, all that kind of crap, is just us giving our respect and worship over to the system. And they're very boldly aware of that in the symbolism still. So
right. Just because Steve's putting it in here, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll read it out to you, Charlie. The type of microbes that is in the food and does it increase mind control? Is it in the yeast in the bread? Give this day and all. Bread having lots of sugars in it, but then molding very quickly if it's, you know, proper bread. Some of the stuff that they make for the commercial use is so heavily infused with all kinds of crap to stop it from molding. You can literally get, I've seen like videos where like you can buy like a burger from like, dare I say, McDonald's and let it sit and it doesn't grow mold. What is going on? But in this conversation of mold and the microbes and all this kind of stuff, it's interesting the maybe symbolism included with bread.
Yeah, and we'll go into the mold a little bit more, Stevie, and that'll probably address your question a little bit more too in the next chapter.
Excellent.
Fascia and fasces. There we have our sandaled soldier on the left, and on the far right, you can see a fascicle with the fascia and the resemblance to the bundle of sticks next to it. And then again, some images a little bit further down of the fascia, both as a symbol and some more cadaver pictures. Can't have a streama without cadaver pictures.
Well, yep, that's just lovely seeing cadaver. But if you want to understand fascia and stuff like that, this is where you'll see some of that action.
Yeah, and I kept it pretty clipped. So
yeah, it's
this
clipped.
makes me wonder how much they knew back then about fascia.
Yes, well, of course they did, because they were hacking each other up with axes. They could see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And they used to take people apart like no big deal, like in freaking at least as far as we know, in ancient even Egypt and stuff, right? They just wouldn't have anything that would numb the pain. They just strap them down. They just start peeling pieces off, doing whatever just to study the body. It's scary to think about what's been done. What are some of these like BB, like BA, MN? Does that mean anything?
Oh, and those are just identifying the different ligaments and structures within the fascia tissue.
Gotcha.
Because it's all intertwined. The muscles, the ligaments, and the fascia are all bound together.
Right. And like Steve was pointing out with the bread and stuff like that. I mean, you got the bundles of sticks and stuff like that, but some of this kind of looks like it could be like bundles of wheat, similar kind of thing going on. I'm talking about bread, but there you go. A lot of this stuff connected in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
This next slide is one of my favorites because it really displays how overt they are with putting the fasces in our face and our historical monuments. Those are fascia to the right and left of good old Abe Lincoln. If you see him in the top left corner, there's a closer shot in the bottom right corner of one of those pillars, so you can really see that is indeed fasces. We've got the leather straps and everything on it. Yeah, if you go down just a little, Booma, and zoom to the right, there you go. You can really see that is precisely what that is. And it's all over the place. It's in Freemasonry. It's obviously. So yeah, just bringing people up to snuff on the overt nature of our enslavement according to the creep class. Just in case there was any doubt in anybody's mind, they feel that we have been seized. You know, we are theirs. We have been captured. We belong.
So
to
what
them.
exactly is their fascination with fascia?
Fascia, as in the human body?
I don't know. Like, I didn't know the pillars were fascia or fasces.
Well, because it means absolute rule. It's a sign of power, and that the power had been given to them by the masses. So they have absolute rule and authority.
Because it's crazy, because like having worked in massage or whatever, a lot of the issues in the body is bound up fascia.
Yes. Yeah.
The restrictions that you, like when you're a baby, when you see a baby or whatever, you can pull, like the legs go back behind the head. It's all like, like no big deal. It doesn't hurt. Nothing's the problem. You get older and it's like everything cracks. You have issues. You have certain pains because your body's holding on to sometimes emotional, but physiological issues, damage, stuff that's been done. The fascia binds it to protect. Or if you're like a bodybuilder or whatever, you have that defined, chiseled look. It's the fascia is hardened around the way that you've created this body in order to, you know, show off the certain muscles that you want to show off. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're obsessed with it, and they don't teach about it. The medical industry doesn't learn about it. They foo-foo a lot of the alternative healing, like massage. We talk about fascia a lot because it's so important to our work. You can literally feel the trigger points and stuff like that. You work those, and it's like almost like a web you learn about. And if you get like a trigger point and you release that, it'll release it for a whole area because it's just bound up there, stuck there for whatever reason. This is this kind of blowing my mind a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely know what they're doing here.
Wow. All right, I'll grab the next.
But is that because they understood the mycelium back in the day and realized that it's exactly like the fascia in the body, and therefore we're all interconnected?
I think they had, a broader picture of the parallels and the fingerprints of things than we do, because they were. I mean, I doubt they were as checked out as we are here. They weren't binge watching Netflix and eating frosted flakes for breakfast. No shame.
No hate. Just a little bit, but no shame.
Frosted.
Not
So
for
we
me.
get bounded
I'm
as
saying from Charlie.
But it does also.
I was gonna say you're not wrong, Charlie, because like how many people have access to so much information on the internet and they're using it to watch stupid shit rather than actually researching. Like,
Yeah, it's a distraction. Keep us everybody pacified and anesthetized, and also conveniently indoctrinated and programmed with whatever psyops they need us to ingest.
So they just bind our fascia as we grow older, huh? I mean, metaphor, symbol. I mean,
Some of it's just the
enslavement.
natural aging of the body, but yes, our lifestyles, the way that they, I mean, I love, you know, like having a comfy bed and a comfy seat. Don't get me wrong, but back in the day, they didn't have that. They were sitting on the ground, sitting cross-legged. They were laying on the ground, a little bit harder surfaces. Your body still stays stronger or whatnot. Now the comfort is what makes it hard to get up, because now you got to get up and your body's like all soft and rigid or whatever in certain areas, because then you move too much in one way and then it's like it wants to stop you and it restricts you from moving so much. And so you have soft parts and hard parts, and the hard parts get worse and worse over time, restricting all kinds of areas. I rolled my ankle when I was a senior in high school basketball, played the whole season on it, and it slowly crept up to my knee, crept up to my hip, crept up into my lower back, up into my shoulder. And that's how a lot of injuries will accrue. But our bodies aren't tough because we're freaking pampered. And we're not taught to do certain stretches. We're not taught about fascia and how, like, when you watch it, like I've got all these cats here, and every time they get up from a nap, they do a nice stretch and they stretch it all out and they get ready for whatever they're going to do. It's like, we don't do that. We just get right up and start doing something. Stretch, take some time for that. That's why music, that's why the sound bath healing is so important, because it'll start to soothe you and let your fascia release, and then allow you to move in ways that maybe you were a little bit more like tense or bound up, if you will.
yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, bound up like that bundle of fascia, right? You know, the bundle of sticks and the fasces. And I think that's where they want us. In my opinion, there is an absolute parallel with the seizing of the flesh and the seizing of the people.
And fear does that to you because it causes a chemical reaction within your body to seize up and lock up and freeze and fight or flight. Or so I could see where that ties into that tightening of the fascia.
Especially if they're tapping into us. They're going, oh, let's tweak this up today.
Right. And then Chelsea was asking, you know, so they use the molds and the remote monitoring together and cause people problems. Abso-freaking-lutely. And that's what a lot of this work is exposing. So if you go back to watch BOOMA STREAMA number 39, which was the part 1 where Charlie was talking about this, and now this one, BOOMA Community STREAMA number 41, mold, maladies, and Morgellons. This is exactly what we're getting into and what we've been talking about. Absolutely.
And with the frequencies, you know, I didn't go into it that much on this one because we did so much of it on the last one. But the symptoms people are experiencing from the frequencies alone are problematic. But then you add mold in there too, and it's just, we're dealing with a new playing field. It's a new paradigm, and so, you know, we shift the sail, we adjust the sail, we adapt and overcome, and we just have to make some really simple changes to protect ourselves and our families from some of these shifts that are causing problems for people.
Right.
Just a few lifestyle things, but you know, change is hard.
Right. But we're all about mitigation here on the channel, and a lot of what Sabrina teaches at her classes and the things that she's doing with those biofill classes, same thing. A lot of it's working with the fascia, working with different peripheral nervous system, various aspects of the body, but the fascia is in direct coordination with all the nervous systems.
Just another picture of a fasces. A single stick is easily broken, but together they're extremely strong, just like the fascia. It symbolizes strength through unity. But the axe symbolizes the power of the magistrate, including capital punishment, which is literally life over, or power over life and death. So when we're using this symbolism in our political buildings and our law enforcement institutions. They are wielding power over life and death. And I think we see that. We absolutely see that by the way that we are treated as chattel, by what we saw with the COVID crisis, by what we see with the MAID program, by, you know, a lot of the stuff that Sabrina gets into that's real tough to deal with how, you know, there's kind of a death panel situation going on real covertly by the fucking creep cowards that, you know, eliminate who they want when they want, potentially, that we discuss a lot in this community. So there's authorities walking around feeling like they have power over our lives and our deaths.
Yep.
And when we vote and when we, you know, party with their traditions and their systems, we're giving them that authority. We're saying, sure, yeah, no, you're the boss. When you line up for the vaccines, all of it, when you do what you're told by the system, you are giving them power over your life and death. You are worshiping at the altar of the state, so you cannot be surprised when they sacrifice you, period.
Yep, little consenting here and there. Every little one. We've talked about some of this on different panels or whatever, like JK in the chat or whatnot. What is the mark of the beast? Various things, whether you believe it, whether you don't. It seems that they play that game even if you weren't to believe in the Bible or Revelation or anything like that. But at some point, you'll make a big choice. But a lot of things that we do every single day in this world is make a choice to you know, participate in the music industry that has a lot of satanic symbolism and tied to the cult. You participate in purchasing from one of these large companies, or you listen to your doctor and take something without even questioning it or doing any research yourself. It's those kinds of things that you consent to that most people don't even think about because they think that they're consenting to somebody that has higher authority. Stop giving them that power. They don't deserve it. I think that's been proven over and over again. And Pamela, I see you here in the chat, and our hearts go out to you because yes, a lot of us here are dealing with various things, certain pains, and yes, I think there are certain waves, there's certain frequencies, there's certain things that are being done. Some of this information that you're learning here could be very well part of some of the issues that a lot of people are dealing with, and that's what we're confronting a lot when we do these community streamas, these panels, and the stuff that gets released on this. And then, of course, a lot of the information that Sabrina shares is mitigation and directly confronting a lot of the stuff out there, both the bullshit as far as like magic paperweights, the bullshit as far as certain potions that people peddle and grift and sell snake oil that does nothing for you other than drain your bank account because people are in pain. They take advantage of that. So the system that makes us sick and in pain, you either get taken by the medical system or you get taken by alternative media grifters. And that's what we combat. That's why I combat a lot of the grifters on here in various ways. So that's what we're here to do.
Aaargh.
Aaargh. Darn grifters.
So we're doing a
crystallization and conduction of the flesh.
It's really, really very good. Yeah. So going deeper into the fascia again, why is our fascia crystallizing? Why are we having this calcification of tissues so early in life that was generally something that, you know, people 60 plus were dealing with. Now people in their 30s are starting to deal with the fascial adhesions. So I've got a few theories about that I fleshed out in this next chapter. That's a little bit, it's a little dense, but we're just going to kind of look at some of the headlines. So if anybody has any questions during it, just stop me, please.
Absolutely. Here we go.
So yeah, we're looking at how mold and oxalates play a role in the crystallization of fascia. So first we have to look at molds, fungi, and yeasts, and how they can spread through your body, especially when in electromagnetic fields, and oxalates, which we'll go into later, which also break down and perturbate, or they destroy the barriers and membranes and tissues in the body in a different way than electromagnetic fields do, but they both cause permeability in the membranes, in the blood-brain barrier, gut, the vasculature, and then the mold and the fungi and the yeast can kind of move on through and cause really severe shit. It can damage the protective lining around your heart, myocarditis, and around your brain and spinal cord, meningitis. Some research papers on systemic fungal infections, invasive candidiasis, deep blood fungus, a recent headline in Ohio about the Candida auris outbreak, fungal infections of the nervous system. That's interesting to me because, you know, I look into neuronal overlays and fungi specifically. And then the role of fungus in central nervous system, autoimmune neurodegenerative issues. It's a much bigger deal than they let on. Antifungals can be really hard to get a hold of. Same thing with strong antivirals, like Dorian knows with his kitty. So yeah, that's it for that slide.
Like I said, take a little snapshot if you want this documented. Any of this, something you want to look further into as well. I did post all of the links to the various stuff that was shared to me by Charley into the description on YouTube, and then it's a pinned comment on Rumble, and then I'll get it onto the Substack once that gets loaded. So you have all kinds of information to look into this deeper on your own as well.
Yeah, tons of research papers for those who want to nerd out and get a little deeper here.
Right, and we all know Charley loves to nerd out.
I don't love to, but I'm like addicted to it. It's weird. It stresses me out, but I can't stop.
Right. It can be stressful to learn the truths of the world, right? But you do a great job, and you put a lot of work into this, so thank you.
I was gonna say, I enjoy Charley's nerding out because this is just like a delight of information that I'm like, ooh, I want to learn.
I'm so glad. I'm
right.
very.
I was teasing Charley earlier. I was like, you and Sabrina are the queen nerds. Yep. Because I joke with Sabrina that she's totally a nerd. But you guys both have awesome personalities. You present it well, and you do the work, and we really appreciate it. I always am just a little ornery and joking when I say these things because otherwise I wouldn't be having you on.
I appreciate it.
I love that. I love the honorary, and I appreciate you guys too. I appreciate everyone in here's interest. Imagine me trying to talk to anybody in California about this shit. I can't. Nobody. Right. Oh, Vicky says she's homeless due to mold. Well, that's better than being in mold at the moment, Vicky, and prayers to you. My goodness, my mom was there, and that's the reason that I'm doing these presentations, because I've seen the effect it has on people and their pets, and it's horrific. So so many blessings to you, Vicky. Hopefully some of this stuff will give you some hope and some insight as to directions that you can take. I've got a bunch of great resources and stuff that I'd like to go into. But okay, so continued the fungal origin for Alzheimer's. Very interesting research there.
In the research on Alzheimer's, I've had that in my family. One of my grandmas got it really bad. It seemed, at least that's what one of the things. Anyways, you're finding, I think my grandpa got to. Anyways, it's bad. Are you finding it to be one of the more prevalent reasons why this occurs?
Absolutely. And it goes deeper than just the fungus, because the funguses that usually cause problems that you find in autistic kids, the Candida albicans and the Aspergillus systemic infections, are the ones that produce the mycotoxins, the neurotoxins that metabolize into calcium oxalate. And oxalate causes, when we'll go into that in the next chapter, but oxalate damages the tissues. They're like little shards, naturally occurring shards in plants and things, but you can also get them endogenously from these molds and fungi in your system. So your body's producing these oxalates on the inside because of the mold colonization, and it's a vicious cycle. The oxalates build up, proliferate, and they're sharp. They're really shardy, and they eat through and slice through tissues and membranes, allowing the mold to go deeper and colonize. So it's very symbiotic in its, and I wonder if the creeps are, aware of that symbiosis. And of course they are, and we'll look into exactly why they are and how they are in a moment here. But fungal infection in neural tissue in patients with ALS. We know these things are connected with not only fungus, but oxalates, because upon autopsy, if they're willing to test it. I do think they sit on this a lot, but the research is still pushing through anyways, for the moment, really pointing the finger at fungus being insanely problematic with foundational in the decline of human health in the West, at least. Thanks largely to our high sugar diets, but also because of our, we bathe in Wi-Fi. We bathe ourselves in Wi-Fi. So orbital fungal, I'm sorry, go ahead, Slim.
No, I was just going to say, okay, so, but the yeast and stuff, but then isn't the typical antibiotic created from a mold?
Yes. Yeah, penicillin.
So then you're getting an infection and they're infecting you with more mold?
Because mold kills bacteria, which is crazy. But then you end up destroying the bacteria and the mold takes over. Yeah. Because the bacteria, when we take antibiotics, we kill the good bacteria too. And that bacteria is there to protect us from fungal colonization. So it takes a while to rebuild after antibiotics to reach a better homeostasis and repopulate your microbiome. And after antibiotics, if anybody does them, stay away from sugars at the very least, because you don't want to feed the opportunistic fungi. Because everyone has to take antibiotics sometimes. The system broke us, and sometimes we need the system to help us. So I get it. I have no hate or shame towards anybody who needs to use antibiotics or whatever for any reason. Well, I guess not any reason, but for good reason, you should, in many cases. Cerebral aspergillosis, fungal infections mimicking brain skull tumors. Same thing with breast tumors, prostate tumors. A lot of times they do the imaging and they'll find the growth, and they'll call it cancer. But a lot of the time it's your body sequestering a fungal situation. And that is indicated a lot of the time by the presence of oxalic crystals in the tumors, which is a whole realm of research that I will not subject you to in this particular podcast, but it's gross and it's wild. These sparkly shards and crystals inside of tumors that are showing up. And a lot of people say, oh, nanotech. Yeah, maybe, probably in many cases, but also oxalates. They're a metabolite of the fungus, and they sparkle. They don't light up and blink like some of those other, magical microscopes show. But as Sabrina says, I kind of tentatively just sit over here watching, what happens with the magical microscopes, but I do prefer to really dig into the research papers about what is actually happening. And so we're not too distracted by little robots, little blinking robots. You know, there are sometimes some very practical and actionable things that we can tackle. But I think, oh, the orbital fungal infection too. That's a big one because a lot of people have these colonized mold balls that are growing in their sinuses and behind their, like right where the swabs kind of went too. Hi, Miss Cajones. The oxalate presentation. Oh, it's coming, girl. It's coming. But yeah, the mold balls in the sinuses are very dominant right now in this area, at least. I have a couple friends who have had that diagnosis of a fungal overgrowth, an actual ball right behind the top of their nose. And if that mold is producing oxalates, then it's damaging the blood-brain barrier and getting into the frontal lobe, and frontotemporal issues are enormous now. So it doesn't take a whole lot of stretching to see the connection there.
Right. And that messes with, I mean, in the frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, whatever, doesn't that mess with people's decision making?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're immediately either you're gonna get the road raging people. You got a lot of people out there acting kind of wild and crazy, and you wonder why. When they stuck those swabs up there and they were perforating that thin membrane to the brain barrier, there were
Absolutely. I agree with you guys completely. The other thing is you used to never hear of fungal infections of the sinus cavity. Most of the time when somebody was sick, it was usually a type of staph, because you already have staph on your skin, in your respiratory tract, that just got an overgrowth of staph, which does happen. But now there are so many different types of yeast infections. Any place that's warm and mucousy in the body, or warm and humid, just and dark, someplace it can hide. That's the truth. So
yeah, stagnancy. It loves stagnancy.
Yes. And I've seen a lot of those cavernous sinus syndromes be completely diagnosed a lot. And then when they culture them looking for bacteria, they find out that it's fungi almost all the time.
Yeah. Isn't that
Or
crazy?
bacteria. Yeah.
It is totally crazy.
We just don't hear about it.
Right.
We treat everything with antibiotics, which just make the fungi worse. And then socioculturally, we push the sugars, you know, cereal for breakfast, candy for every party, cupcakes, Halloween, Easter, nonstop feeding this shit in our bodies that makes us cranky and feel crappy, and it makes us kind of retarded too. I know when I'm very sensitive to molds. I didn't live long in the house that my mom was in that had the mold outbreak, but you know, ever since, molds can trigger a lot of upper respiratory stuff for me.
Yes.
So I know if I'm around mold, because I'll just be sneezy.
Me too. Does it to me too.
Yeah. It's good. It's a nice alarm system, right?
It is. Even if it's food, like if you go in to eat somewhere and the food is contaminated or around it, I'll get the sneezes and the mucus problems. So it's weird. So,
yep.
And welcome, Crystal, who's kind of popped in. Woo!
Sorry, you guys. I was making chow chow, so I was chopping. I had to get at least everything in salt water. Okay, sorry.
You made it happen. Welcome. Glad to have you here, Crystal.
Thank you.
You're canning like crazy.
I'm trying. I'm giving it my best.
Right.
And trying
for
to do
you.
a lot of fermented foods and pickled foods, things that are good for you, you know.
That's so great because those probiotics are antagonistic to fungi.
Yes.
So everybody should do a little bit of fermented goodness in their life.
There's a
If
lot
you-
of good recipes that are super easy. Like I have one for fermented dill pickles. It's super easy. It's just basically a saltwater brine, cucumbers, a sprig or two of dill, a couple of other herbs you could add. And it's just a matter of time. You have to wait for it to do its fermenting, and some vinegar, and that's it. So lots of things we can do for sure that are good for us.
Absolutely. And that's going to be like sort of how I'd like to wrap up this show, because like this is heavy shit, but there are so many things you can do. So many tiny free little lifestyle tweaks you can make that aren't going to make you miserable, that will make measurable and meaningful
I just had a
differences.
huge aha with the whole fermenting and salt, you know, and I've been doing a lot of that too. And fermenting is really fun, but I just had a huge aha because I take really intense, heavy salted baths, hot baths with lots of salt. And I just buy canning salt, and it's like the same thing. It's like fermenting the food, fermenting the body. Whoa.
It does look a lot like it. It looks a lot. It looks a lot like the canning salt. Looks very close to the actual like Dead Sea salt or Epsom salt.
I use the canning salt too. I use Epsom too, but I wanted to get into some things of mitigation if we get a chance. But there's a guy on Facebook I want to recommend because he's where I got this information from recently, and I've been on the train with all this for over 10 years. So, but the salt thing, I just had to chime in on that. It's huge. Salt is huge.
It is.
Oh, baby.
You have to put, Patrice, do you know about the private chat here in StreamYard? You have to put whoever that is in there. Let me take a look at him.
I will do it.
Make sure he's not on my
Okay.
naughty list, if you know what I mean.
Well, he's a veteran, and he's been heavily, you know, infiltrated like most veterans. So
Right.
he's been doing, I don't know. I have a pretty good bullshit meter. So what he does has been resonating with me and has been working for me. I am a must feel, see, touch myself person before I really do anything for myself with it. And then if it works, then I will share it with others. If it works for me, that doesn't mean it'll work for you. Okay. But I'll put his name in the StreamYard chat.
Excellent day. And what was the name of that? Oh, what was the name of that one thing that you had up here? Let me look at it real quick. I was just going to make a stupid joke, and it's not, you know, this is very silly, just de-boomasan kind of stuff during a serious conversation, but cerebral aspergillosis. I think Mike Gill is cerebral aspergillosis, walking around in his motel room that everybody pays for while he spouts bullshit. How about that?
That could very well be. And also, like, you know, he had some teeth problems, sometimes dental infections. They're very close to the brain. He could have some endotoxins influencing his pumpkin.
Something's wrong, man. I think, and yeah, he ain't taking care of himself. I'll guarantee that. But what can you do?
And Stevie Hyatt said, I believe, or no, Straw Hat said that drinking like 5 cups of coffee a day with a couple spoonfuls of sugar in each cup. And if he doesn't do that, then he gets headaches. And, you know, caffeine withdrawal can be one thing. Yeah. But, you know, of course, the sugars, the molds and the fungi in our body like to be fed. They need to be fed. And when you starve them, they throw a little fucking fit. They have a big problem. So, and you'll have inflammation. And what you want to do when you feel crappy and inflamed is eat sugar, make yourself feel better, right? I was doing that.
the people who've ever tried to do a parasite or a candida cleanse, and that's exactly what happens is you, if you do not take something to flush out the toxins, it literally stays in your system and you actually get sicker before you actually get rid of the heavy metals or the you know, candida or those types of things. And so you have to do it properly, otherwise you just make yourself sick.
Yeah, you have to do it so right. So don't detoxing can be so much worse for you than just letting your body just do it itself. Like these detox protocols, because there's an order of operations. You need to make sure that, you know, for instance, your large intestine is cleared before you start detoxing the liver. Otherwise, all that shit's going to just recycle back into your body and make you feel like crap. So there's an order of operations with detoxification protocols that not everybody knows about. They'll just do a kidney cleanse. Well, are your bowels moving? You know?
And you need to make sure your liver is functioning well enough to do a liver cleanse before you go deeper, because then when you start doing parasites and heavy metals, the liver can't handle it. So you can get super sick. And if your liver's not open and your kidneys aren't functioning, then you're not accomplishing anything. Those
exactly.
I mean, I keep it real simple with detoxification, and that's just, you know, I just pull away from everything that's not a perfectly whole food and just drink water and, you know, maybe support with a little bit of like salt baths, things like that. Sorry, my landline's ringing and nobody's here to help me. It feels like 1995 forever in my house.
It's like Back to the Future at Charlie's place. Oh, man. If people don't know, she doesn't use Wi-Fi. She hasn't had a smartphone for 6 years. She's direct line right into the internet.
Same. I'm right there with you, Charlie.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, girl.
I just got me a super long Ethernet to do the same thing in my house, because I'm like, I'm cording everything back up again.
And we can't hide from any of it, but we can do the best we can to protect ourselves. And navigating all this right now, that's the key to all of it, is cut the bullshit and learn to navigate.
Adjust the sails. Adjust the sails.
Yes.
And, you know, we can't do anything about the underground magnetics. We can't do anything about the satellites. We can't do anything about the stingray, the dirt box. We can't do anything about these systems, but we can have electromagnetic hygiene in our own homes. We do have control over what we put in our bodies to a large extent. A lot of people are freaking out about what's being sprayed in the sky, but then they, you know, what are you putting in your body? That's not helping also, you know? So minimizing and simplifying our situations is always step one. People tend to jump into a detox protocol. I'm just going to fix it. Or with mold and parasites, I'm just going to kill it. And that's not the right attitude. We got to simplify. We got to calm down and start removing the obstacles to our wellness that we do have complete power over right now, today. We can make choices today.
And I'd like
we can just calm down.
I'd like to add, if I may, that is all right and that is all good. But in the big picture, from the 40,000 foot view, you know, anywhere there's an agenda, you're going to see an influx, just like there was with the bacon years ago. And now it's the sourdough, because all the wheat is compromised. I mean, we can try all we want to. And this is what I was listening to Tony P, you know, the bucket guy 10 years ago, and learned all this. And it, you know, the sugar and the grains, all the grains have already been altered for a very long time. So it's,
and the corn,
and corn. The thing that so you kind of, I mean, I freaked kind of out, like, what am I supposed to eat as a foodie, you know, that I am. What, it was really hard. Like, okay, everything's screwed. So you just have to, again, navigate and make your choices the best you can. Because when you in-depth look, it's all manipulated and engineered and whatever. So free range humans just have to do the best we can to remain free range humans. So.
Yeah, there's a reason that God didn't call this place heaven. I don't understand when people are walking around looking for, oh, I have my green smoothie and my perfect lifestyle and yoga, and I'm
and I'm a vegan and I'm running my brain. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, then a lot of things I wanted to say earlier, but it'll still work in when we talk about, like, a lot of the people out here in alternative media, they are pushing detox. They're trying to scare you, getting you all freaked out. So you got to buy their supplements. I don't know if you guys know what voice I'm using, but pushing all these supplements to make you healthy because they're not healthy and you're dying because the deep state's inside your body. So anyways, you got a lot of these people out there. Anyways, it's a lot of them. That was just one that I was screwing around with. But as far as like him always pushing stuff and always selling things, I mean, I'm not saying people don't have things that could help, but don't over detox. Don't diminish your body's ability and its own immune system. Like Crystal was saying earlier, make sure your liver is up to the task of being detoxed, because you can overdo it and cause yourself like lots of issues. People got to be careful out there, and a lot of people are pushing fear in the alternative movement and then selling you as much as they can, and then you just go gung-ho on it to the point where you're making it worse than it probably would have been otherwise. You know what I'm saying, Mike? You know about all those pushers out there, right? Well, yep, we follow them, man.
Yeah, and the supplements that we've now recently learned are crap too.
Right, they're putting a lot of nano in the supplements. There's a lot of other stuff that are being put in there. I mean, why would the people go through the trouble, the people that are in charge, people that are nameless, faceless most of the time, and then they have their puppets out there? But why would they go through all this trouble and allow all this stuff to remain out there and not touch it? Why would they not buy up the supplement companies or force out the good ones or take over a lot of the family-owned businesses that were doing it the right way, pressure them out, and then taint a lot of the supplements? A lot of this stuff, I even see it in some of the, I mean, if you got juxtaposition on here, all athletes are taking steroids and performance enhancers. It might be the case, but even if you were to go to like some of these supplement stores or whatnot, you might be taking something that actually has performance enhancing drugs in it, because they might be using the same facility to create certain supplements, and therefore you're getting residue that would pop you for these other things, but you could be sensitive to it and it might not be on the label. There's all kinds of things that you got to be aware of, and you really got to be careful when you're out there buying anything. But then there's certain names out there that push stuff all the time where you really got to question sometimes. But what's up, biscuits? Wanted to get that in real quick.
Yeah, the pharmaceutical corporations, Tony the Nano Bucket guy has been pointing that out forever. The addition of silicon dioxide or silica in the supplements.
And titanium dioxide, those two are big.
God.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's literally.
Yeah.
And not just pharmaceuticals, but a lot of the processed food. It's one of the major ones listed is titanium dioxide and silicon dioxide.
And titanium dioxide is illegal in Europe, from what I understand.
A lot of places it's illegal, exactly. But it's also illegal in most companies to push TV commercials of all these drugs. They're not allowed to do that either.
Right.
We
are the
Not here in America. We love poisons.
Have you seen the latest? They now have prescription.
Like a hot pocket.
They now have prescription drugs for COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have for a while. They've been pushing on TV. I haven't watched TV in a while. But the other thing that they get away with, and it's not just in like foods, it's clothing, shampoos, lotions, and all this is
lotions.
It's a
and
loophole
cream.
for them. It's a I'm going to say it wrong. Proprietary secret. And so they literally, they can hide anything at all. That the only way that you're going to know is if you send whatever it is that you want, your lotion, whatever, to an independent laboratory that does not get funding from you know, an agency, which is really difficult to do. And don't tell them much of anything. Just say, I'm just curious to what's in this. Send it a little sample or whatever. And you'll be surprised what comes back. Because there has been somebody who did that. He did that with clothing. And it came back that there was arsenic, all kinds of poison that, like, and it's 10 times worse what they allow here than anywhere else. And they don't do that to their own country. If you get something from another country, name a country, doesn't matter. And the levels will be different depending on where it comes from. It's crazy. So that's how they get away with it, too. They don't have to put everything in there. They can just say fragrance or something. There's, you know, a couple different words that they can use, and it's hidden within that. Legally, you cannot do anything.
They have their right to their company secrets. You know,
that's right. But proprietary, I can't say that word very good, but that secret is a huge thing.
Yes.
So you're saying that they're, instead of the jabberdoodles, they now have medications that people take for the COVID.
Yes, they do.
I could not believe it. And I'm like you, I mean, most of us don't watch TV, but it popped up on YouTube today. And
is it only for people that get diagnosed with it, or are they saying it's what do they call that, prophylactic? Or are they trying to get people to take it so that they don't get COVID? Like they make a mucho.
It was just a commercial, so they didn't get that far.
There's a couple different medications that you can take. It basically it just tells you, it's just like any other commercial that they do, and then at the end it says get the seek medical advice before, you know, because you can't, their prescription, you can't just go buy them.
And you might die.
The antivirals are really popular for that. They're doing those, and they're saying that they're specific to COVID, but a lot of those were already out before. They were using them for other things. Now,
they rebranded.
They're supposedly specific to COVID. What blew my mind was the other night, I decided I was going to watch a show on Hulu. I maybe watch something usually on the TV, maybe once every couple of months or something. We'll watch movies or whatever or something. And during the 2.5 hours, I seen at least 4 different drugs that flashed across that literally said, these drugs are used for life extension. These drugs will make you last and live longer. So I tried last night, as much as I hated it, I tried to catch them. I was hoping they would cycle the same ones because I was going to record them, but they didn't. But I think that's because the night we were listening, it was super late. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I think that's why. So I told Jerry, I said, we have to go back and watch that same show, but a little bit later so we can catch those commercials, because my mind was blown.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, they say, that are oral medications at home treatment. I really don't want to give them any, I don't want to put their names.
Right.
In, but there are 2 that are oral that they give over-the-counter prescription medications. Not over-the-counter, prescriptions. Oral tablets. This is wild. All right, so Charlie's back. Heather's stuff is working. It's a freaking miracle. Hallelujah, grace like rain. And we are on slide number 15. This is where it gets into the EMF. So when people like have problems like understanding maybe some of the mold stuff or whatever, this is where it really gets into it, because you know, a lot of us here on the channel love and support and watch a lot of Sabrina Wallace. And so when it gets into her and what she's exposing, this is where it really ties into some of the severity of how all this stuff plays together. Right,
okay,
Captain
so,
Charley?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. So fungi and EMFs. Brandon, I know, is going to be on the panel. He had sent me the global density and biomass of arbuscular mycorrhizal fungal networks, and we talked about it a little bit in the last episode. Specifically, it's basically fungi networks that make up 4 to 6 times the biomass of the human population on Earth. So that's always something to keep in mind, because these networks, they have an electrical communication, an electrical network that can, like any network, be exploited or hijacked, whether it's underground in the soil or in our bodies. It's a network. And I think these creeps at the IEEE understand that and want access to that. And maybe that's why they want us full of mold, because one of the many reasons, but because it's really easy to hop onto that.
Then we're
any
more
network.
conductive.
Say it again.
Then we're more conductive. We can emit and send and receive signals a heck of a lot easier, faster. So they want you full of fungus and full of, wow.
Yeah, and then the fungus produces oxalates, which are crystals, and then we know about crystallography, and we'll get into that later too. I'm jumping ahead a little, but fungi is nature's hidden electrical network, combining convolutional neural networks for fungi classifications. That's IEEE. Messing around with that, we'll go a little deeper into that later. I have a slide for that specifically. The IEEE, messing with molds. Effects on the nervous system by exposure to electromagnetic fields. That's just tying into the fact that electromagnetic fields have effects on neural networks and fungal networks. Neurons and filamentous fungi are highly polarized cells that share features. So are oxalates. Oxalates are polarizable as well. And that means that they can, you know, they've got a dipole. They have, you know, field. So crystals also enhance amplitude. Absolutely, for better or for worse, right? That's it, Hillbilly. I love my boo-boo Hillbilly. He's up here on the shelf. I love him so much. He gets into all kinds of shit, but sorry for the aside, but thank you, Liz. I love you. You are a true talent.
Yeah.
Booma in the rooma.
Booma in the rooma.
You guys,
Fuck
if you're
you,
not in
Elf,
the
on the
Telegram chat, Charlie's sharing pictures with her little Booma doll, and she's all kinds of stuff. He's getting into all kinds of trouble. I love it. And
I love
it's a
the
fun little
picture she's
addition.
sending.
Liz is doing
He's
some great
naughty.
work.
It's appropriate.
He's a little booger, but we love him.
That's how it works. That's the Booma doll, for sure. That's awesome. Oh,
Okay,
man.
so
Where are we
that's
at?
it for fungi and EMFs. We can move along. It ties into the next one.
Right. And then real quick, so a lot of these links is what we cited as references, right, that you shared with me?
Yes, all of the links that are pictured are cited in, I think there's like 50 different citations that I gave you.
Yeah, she gave me a bunch. So on YouTube, they're in the description underneath the video, and then on Rumble right now, they're a pinned comment, so you can find all of these links if you wanted to research anything specifically more. And then I'll get them onto the Substack as well once I upload this. Substack's just a little bit different than all these programs, platforms. Substack's comments don't show up on the screen, unfortunately. We love you all. Over there on the Substack, I don't always get over there all the time because it's a little easier when I can see them here on the screen in StreamYard. But hopefully they'll figure that out here soon. But that's what we're dealing with when the EMF and all this kind of stuff all goes hand in hand with how they can incorporate this into the various ways that they're manipulating the human population. Not for the better, that's for sure. There we go.
All right, here's that IEEE paper. I can't say that. IEEE,
baby.
IEEE, that's better. So yeah, they're fucking around with deep learning of fungi for their training models. I just pulled a couple key points out of the article. The paper introduces a novel approach for fungi classification. So they're trying to classify fungi with morphology and data mapping. Combining convolutional neural network models, The experiment focused on black fungus sickness, a human body disease. I don't know why they call it a human body disease other than the fact that it's a little poorly translated because I believe the scientists were Korean, but utilized a publicly available chest x-ray data set, and the experiment involved classifying 5 species of airborne fungi. What the fuck is the IEEE doing with messing with airborne fungi's colonization in the human body?
Great, great
Easier
question right
access.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Great
Easier
question.
access. It's easier
Right.
access. And,
And
then the crystal, these are my thoughts really quick. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it crystallizes, right? Which would just amplify it and encourage the fungus and the mold growth. And it can all, because everything is a network, and then it meshing networks. And then it just is easier access. And then to get you, maybe one type gets to the brain, one type gets to, so they can decide what they want to do.
Yeah. I knew you'd dig this stuff, Heather. I knew this was right up your alley because this is
Well,
where
it pisses me off too because of how
Yeah.
much I was gaslit by the person who owned the apartment building and
Yeah.
would argue with me about
Mhm.
what I knew, and I knew he was lying, and I knew that's what it was. And I showed up when they were ripping the roof off, and I just so I could see for myself. And I went, "Oh wow, yeah," and he said it was kind of bad. And then they told me the truth because I couldn't get the truth out of the real estate agent. The only reason why it got taken care of is because he decided to sell the building, and it had to go through inspection. And when that inspector was there, I made sure I was there. And I said that right there. He tried to say that he used black tape when he was repairing something, blah, 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 blah. But I knew it was everywhere. I knew it because they would paint once a year, and it would, you know what I mean? There were certain areas. And then I got the truth, and I'm sure it was, and then he did all kinds of dirty stuff, but it pisses me off because I still to this day have issues. And I was not diagnosed with asthma until after I lived in that damn apartment.
Yep.
Because it damages your lungs.
And I didn't need an inhaler before then. And I'm the one that gets gaslit, and I'm still dealing with it, as you can hear.
Yeah.
It pisses me off. So sorry. That's my little tangent. But yes, that's why I dig it.
Right. When she's asking why is the IEEE dealing with fungus, it's because, and this is this kind of stuff that Sabrina rails on, and people like call her out for stupid shit, but IEEE is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. They do stuff like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and shit. Like they set the standards for that. Why are they messing around with fungus?
Yep.
It's because everything's a fucking weapon to these motherfuckers.
It's all about control. Full spectrum dominance, right?
Right. How can it be weaponized? How can it be utilized for our purposes? And our purposes are not the purposes of the people. Ever.
Yeah. Well, this is the creep realm, right? The Bible says this place belongs to the creeps, so they're going to do their creepy shit. We just have to have proper discernment so that we can see it and best mitigate and avoid it.
Can y'all see that?
See what?
Oh,
The comment you just put up that the hotel would. Oh, that's different.
oh, is that Deb Tavares's piece?
Yeah, but it's a NASA document.
Right.
Silent weapons for quiet wars. It's what we're in, babies.
Yeah. What happened to Deb too? She went MIA, and then her BitChute and Rumble got like everyone was, or she was posting stuff that was totally uncharacteristic of her.
Well, because it probably wasn't her anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
But she was
Where
a
is
huge
she?
catalyst in my awakening. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what happened to her, but she's probably been in danger for a really long time.
God bless her. She was an absolute Viking.
She really is.
Yeah, let's put her in the is tense.
Yeah, no, fair. Yes. She is an absolute Viking.
Yeah, thanks, Crystal. I like that better.
Wait.
Yeah.
Was that the juxtaposition? What was that? What was that mug?
Oh,
She's still got her juxtaposition mug. There you go. Little love for you, Juxta. And if y'all didn't see, Sabrina's in the chat.
hi, Sabrina.
Celebrity known as Sabrina Wallace is in the chat.
Hey, Sabrina.
Yeah,
But
2005.
juxtaposition still getting some love from the Charley. Even though
Oh, big
at the
time.
end of that short on YouTube that still exists, lots of juxtas are chasing you down for some reason.
A lot.
I love putting his face on all those, like, whatever they are, Aborigine people or whatever, the tribal people.
My family was dying.
Oh, so
It
good.
was so funny.
What's up, Sabrina? Yes, talking about some important stuff. Patrice dropping some serious gems. And yes, everybody's excited to see that Sabrina is here hanging out. And let's get back to it. Where are we at, Charley, with this?
We're good on the IEEE bullshit. We can move along.
Okay. But yeah, the IEEE, what are they doing? Messing around with fungus and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very fishy.
What aren't they doing would be a much easier list of things to actually go through. I mean,
It's
there's
true.
not one classification of any type of xylo anything, not animals, not funguses, not bacteria. They have their hand in all of it. So,
Yep.
And they're electrical engineers. Just think about it. Just think about it, people.
JOBs.
Yep.
Well, it makes perfect sense because electrical engineers deal with networks and mycelial networks and fungal and fascial networks and neuronal networks. These fuckers are all about networks and networking. So the Oxalate Axe and the ambush of the living temple. This is something I've been exploring for a while due to the fact that oxalates have been pushed so hard with the superfoods, and also because molds metabolize specifically a couple species into oxalates, which, as I mentioned before, are really damaging to the tissues, very inflammatory and destructive. So let's in the ambush of the living temple, because what is this? This is they're trying to get under our skin. They want to get in the flesh, in the temple, right? We are the third temple. You know, many of us believe that, and that the enemy, the adversarial forces, whether you're Christian or not, they want access to you, to your body, to your brain. They want it all. So how do they do that? Well, first they got to get in, and oxalates, frequencies, molds, they are all working together symbiotically, it seems, to for an ends to that means. Let's get into some oxalates.
All right. Was y'all playing hacky sack in Ohio? Was that going down? Mike, are you a hacky sacker? Dang, bro. You're not into it, but they were playing it? Aaron's a hacky sacker. I mean, I never really got deep into it, but man, it was fun when you're just hanging around, kicking around a freaking hacky sack. It's a good time.
Booma, I wish you'd fly into Charlotte, North Carolina on the 17th of July.
You telling me to fly in? You buying the ticket?
Fly into, I know, it's rough. Listen, that's the rough part, right?
That is the rough part. All right, let's get into this. All right, this one's the one that you're probably going to want to take a little snapshot.
Yeah, at the top there are pictures of what oxalate crystals look like. They come in a bunch of different forms, but just to review oxalates, they're naturally occurring. They're defense compounds found in plants. They can cause pain when ingested, inflammation, damage to various tissues due to their sharp physical structure. An oxalate is oxalic acid bound to calcium in this instance, but it can bind to other metals too. But this is predominantly what causes kidney stones and calcification in the joints, gout, are generally made up of oxalate deposits in crystals. They can be very painful. You can also produce oxalates endogenously, like I mentioned before, because of certain microbes, yeasts, and molds. They create them during their metabolic processes. And when these oxalates, or when the molds colonize the tissues, the oxalate they produce accumulates, right? So wherever you have a mold colonization in your body, you have also a buildup of accruing oxalates that are causing damage to that area, which is why it's important to, you know, address fungal infections so that you don't cause prolonged tissue damage. High oxalate levels in the body beyond damaging tissues turn fascia and other connective tissues into crystallized, calcified sheets that are visible on X-rays and imaging. Not just sheets, you know, they can be diffusely dispersed in, like we said before, tumors, growths, cysts, and also in the joints. And oxalates particularly are known to irritate the bladder, the eyes, and the kidneys. Now, other exogenous or external sources of oxalates include ethylene glycol, PEG, that's familiar to everybody, right? PEG from the frickin' vaccines and also in a bunch of OTC drugs. But ethylene glycol is also the main component of antifreeze. Ethylene glycol is ultimately metabolized into oxalate, which results in crystal deposition. And so when somebody drinks antifreeze for whatever reason, it's the hyperoxaluria that is the cause of the death. The crystallization just gets out of control and seizes you.
It's funny that you mentioned the crystal, like the oxalate crystals, because in the New Age community, there are a lot of them you hear talking about, we're all going to crystalline structures and we're going to be crystal beings. And I'm going, where is this from?
Right.
What the
Right.
heck are you talking about? I'm like, that's why.
Right.
They're filling you full of crystals so you're more conductive.
I mean, the shoe kind of fits. Now, the polyethylene glycol is used for the nanoparticle delivery we know. And a lot of people, when they take Miralax a lot, for instance, because it's largely propylene glycol, end up with kidney issues. Crystal probably has heard that.
A lot of kidney stones from people who take Miralax daily. I've seen.
Yeah. Well, that's great validation. Thank you. But yeah, it's that PEG because PEG degrades to oxalates. And it's in many other OTC and RX medicines, including vaccines. Understand. So let's see. Yeah, if you look up at the photograph, the oxalates can be in these, like, they're like rapides, these really sharp shards. The ones on the far right are more of the types that are generally found in urine. If you ever have cloudy urine, not always, but largely it's because you're dumping oxalates. A lot of the time when you have like styes in your eyes, your body's just moving them out. We were made to be able to handle a degree of oxalates. The problem is multifold, but we are being hit with the frequency that's causing the proliferation of the molds that produce the oxalates, but we're also being force fed this healthy superfood diet that people are going way too far with these you know, you have a spinach smoothie and you throw chard in there and almonds and beets and all of these super high oxalate foods that we'll get into later. And then they start developing arthritic issues or vision problems or kidney stones. And a lot of people who have been in the vegan movement have backed off away from vegetables entirely because of this, because of developing oxalaria or oxalosis. And very few people talk about it because I think there's a vested interest in us eating things that create shards in our body that damage the tissues, that create a hospitable environment for fungi and microbes to live in. Microbes and fungi love damaged tissues. And it provides, damaged tissues provide access deeper into tissues and organ systems and neurons, where the enemy ultimately wants to get into. So that's why I called this the oxalate axe. We're breaking through the tissues in the temple for deeper access. And I do feel that that's likely why high oxalate diets were pushed by the mainstream. We call it the health movement, but it was never the health movement. We knew this 100 years ago, over 100 years ago. You shouldn't eat high amounts of spinach or sorrel or chard. We knew the connections were there. They're being artificially forced upon us, marketed as superfoods. Now, people have varying different levels of tolerance for oxalates depending on their own microbiome. But it's becoming an increasingly common problem because of the electromagnetic fields, I feel. And I've like I've said before, autistic kids, they are almost all full of it, full of these molds and oxalates. They can't tolerate oxalates. They have to go on a no oxalate diet because their body's just in a state of torment, really. Pain, chronic pain, inflammation, neuroinflammation, you know, hitting their head against the walls. That's not only from the neurotoxins, the mycotoxins that are neurotoxic from the molds in the Candida albicans, which is largely the case with, or the strain with autistic kids and the elderly. So the vulnerable.
Something else, Charlie, that makes it bad for oxalates is some of your vitamins. Vitamin C causes the calcium to change in the blood, and that one has a very high tendency. People take high doses of vitamin C, and they're actually kicking out oxalates like crazy.
Yep.
So,
yep. The high dose,
diuretics could cause that. It makes the oxalate turnover faster in the body. Fat blocking meds, which were really popular in the early 2000s. Not as much now, but you still have some of them that are being used, and supplements that are being pushed to block fat in the diet to try to make people lose weight. But in doing that, they're actually making the oxalate load worse.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right about the vitamin C.
Mm-hmm.
Mega dosing vitamin C degrades to oxalates. And people will call it a Herxheimer's response because, oh, I'm just detoxing. But no, generally you're especially with the IV vitamin C's that a lot of people are doing, that can become very problematic. Maybe for use in the short term, but but it's not natural to mainline ascorbic acid into your body. Your body's going to have something to say about that. There are better ways to feel better than mainlining vitamin C.
Well, they also tell you. Oh, sorry.
Are we good on that slide?
Sure.
Okay.
I was going to say, did you see Mike's question in the private chat in StreamYard there, Charlie, regarding, say, like, for example, microgreens?
Let me see. Are microgreens okay? Oh, you know what? I like microgreens. And and this is not to scare anybody off all oxalates either.
Right.
We can tolerate them. It's just a matter of knowing your burden and knowing and starting to listen to your body and pay attention. And going low oxalate, if you are on a high oxalate diet, has to also be done very carefully, because your body will dump them really quick. And that means all of the oxalates move from your tissues into your bloodstream. And that can make you feel like crap. And you can start throwing stones, kidney stones.
Big time.
Oxalate dumping symptoms are no joke. If you just Google oxalate dumping symptoms, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. Like, just like crystals coming out of your face and styes coming out of your eyes when people go low oxalate. And then they end up feeling so much better because their tissues finally get to release them. But it must be done carefully.
Wow.
And slowly and mindfully.
Because they tell you that your body will just, like, you can't overdose on vitamin C because your body will just fluff it off.
Yeah, you sure can. I mean, it's not toxic in and of itself generally, but it is the breakdown into calcium oxalate that becomes problematic.
Right.
So, yeah, let's see.
Whole IV vitamin flush is what folks need. What do you think about that?
I'm not for the IV vitamins. I understand when people have to use like B12 injections, but I don't trust the IV bars and all the. They might have some benefits. I'm for simplifying, removing obstacles, and I think God has made a way for us that doesn't involve using those things, but I do think they're fabulous to have in case of, certain situations where people are dealing with chronic illness. Sometimes maybe they do need a ton of methylated B vitamins delivered into their bloodstream to get them up and over the edge. I just personally, I don't move into that territory because I don't know the substrates, things that are in those solutions that are being injected into everybody on every fucking corner of California, at least. I don't know if y'all have it out here, but the IV bars here are nuts.
Yep.
What are IV bars?
Places you go to have an IV put in you full of like B vitamins or glutathione, vitamin C.
Wow.
The
So
problem
they're
is-
everywhere in California. That must be a state thing, because I don't think they're popping up everywhere.
They're all about longevity out here. So,
I mean, I guess you'd have to look too, because if you're not somebody that would go and do something like that, you'd be surprised at what your local salon might have or something like that. But
You're right, Heather.
you got to be careful with those too, because it's not like you're going and testing your blood and then making sure that you don't need that, or you need something else or whatever. So unless you're working tandem with somebody who knows how to read something like that to tell you what you need, what your body needs, everybody's different. That's the other problem. They have all these places where it's just like they act like all our bodies are exactly the same. Like we just go in for an IV like it's an oil change to a car. I mean, it's weird.
That's what it sounds like. Well, med spas are doing them as well now, huh? Yeah, I've heard about the hangover relief stuff. Back when I was big into drinking in college, we're like, man, dude, we should totally be able to get our license and be able to go around and hook up people that are hungover with an IV and all that stuff. That'd be so awesome. You know what I mean? Just to keep you to rally into Saturday night, have that hardcore Friday night, wake up Saturday morning, get your hangover IV, and then be rocking for the Saturday night party. That was the plan.
Yeah.
Yo.
And then overdo it because you're doing it all the fucking time. And
Always
bam,
overdo
all of a
it.
sudden you just drop and you don't know why. And then you don't know to tell the people at the emergency room or whatever what you've been up to, because you don't think that about it. It's going to be a problem because it's accessible right there. You can go make an appointment, pay money. You don't even have to. It's just like a sloth kind of thing. You don't have to get in your insurance to cover. I mean, maybe that might be a little bit different with a medical spa, but still, it's that's so dangerous.
Yeah. Well, now I guess it's a reality, but back in the day, it sounded like a great idea.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would have been down with it too.
For sure.
Now you know what's good. Now we know more what's going on in the world, and it's like I don't even know if I trust anything being injected into me.
Right.
Man.
Right.
I mean, you could be surprised at what all kinds of stuff that you can get done at certain places in whatever body part you want to take care of.
Bro, so true.
Hey,
It's
Booma.
so bad.
Frightening.
Booma,
Oh.
just want to say good night. I'm an East Coaster and I am fading fast. Got to work tomorrow. Worked today. So
All right.
love y'all. Come to Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay. Bye.
All right. Send the spaceship.
Ooh, have a
Bye,
good night.
Patrice.
Skip, Chris.
Bye. Good night.
Send the spaceship. All right. Let's see what we got next. What do we got next? Number 19. There we go. Boom.
Boom. Oxalates. Did we not? I thought we did this one.
We talked about PEG, so maybe we already covered a lot of what was in this one, but I don't think we had put this one up yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. No, you're right. PEG is viewed as being well tolerated, right? Okay. So frontiers in bioengineering and biotechnology and nanobiology is trying to understand why polyethylene glycol might be antagonizing some issues for people because they care. But previous studies have identified anti-PEG antibodies and so-called pseudo-allergic reactions in certain individuals. The increased use of nanoparticles as contrast agents or in drug delivery, along with the introduction of mRNA vaccines encapsulated in pegylated lipid nanoparticles, has brought this issue to the fore. While the vaccines have been proven remarkably effective, of course, rare cases of anaphylaxis have been reported, and this has been tentatively ascribed to the pegylated carriers, which may trigger complement activation in susceptible individuals. Here we provide a general overview of the use of pegylated nanoparticles for pharmaceutical applications, and we discuss the activation of the complement cascade that may be caused by pegylated nanomedicines for a better understanding of these immunological adverse reactions. So we remember that PEG breaks down to oxalates too, right? PEG is antifreeze, right? And it breaks down to oxalates. PEG is miralax, and that's why people get kidney stones. So PEG-elated nanomedicine, they're injecting PEG into your body. It's different when you ingest it. You poop it out mostly, but you inject that into yourself with a payload. PEG breaks down to oxalate. Oxalate damages the tissues. The PEG's got a payload that can go deeper into the tissues. I think oxalates are the axe into the temple. I think oxalates, anyways, okay. It's also been suggested that PEG metabolites produced by ADH may cause renal damage and failure in a manner similar to ethylene glycol poisoning. Antifreeze. They're admitting they're putting antifreeze into the vaccines and people aren't doing well with it. That's basically what this research paper ends up saying. We know that antifreeze is hurting people in these vaccines, and we're working on it. That's what they're saying. But for the meantime, we're going to continue to inject yourself with antifreeze. I think this is from 2022. Yes. So,
So this is back before they realized that they're not safe and effective. Sorry. Sorry, I just who wrote the paper?
Right. I think it's the illusion of concern. I think they recognize that we recognize there's a whole lot of people out there saying, like, I don't know about polyethylene glycol or ethylene glycol or ethylene oxide. What is all this shit? What's it doing to us? Why are we shoving it up our nose and into our arms?
Right. Or why they're looking at, common household cereals and why does it have TSP in it? TSP is used to strip the paint off and the gunk off your walls, right? I'm like, but
Yeah.
people don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that they were, big on feeding us their industrial byproducts just because it's cheap, but there's definitely a more conscious and potentially sinister element happening here insofar as their endless drive for full spectrum dominance, complete control, invasion of the temple.
Well, and just with like them doing weird stuff, Listerine, if you go way back, that was a household cleaning product. It was a floor cleaner. It was advertised as a floor cleaner in the early, like either late 1800s or early 1900s.
So now let's stick
Listerine
it in our
that
mouth.
you squish out in your mouth. No shit.
Cray cray.
All right, we done with this slide?
We're done with this slide. Next is just some links to oxalates and mold-related illnesses.
There you go.
Looking at the connections between molds and oxalates. As we discussed before, molds, particularly Aspergillus and Candidiasis, produce oxalates endogenously, so in the body. So this is different than the oxalates that you ingest on your plant foods, although the same mechanism occurs once in the body. They're destructive. Oxalates and mold-related illness, exploring calcium oxalate crystallization. So when these oxalates move into our tissues, they're crystals, and our tissues are fascia, and our fascia gets the adhesions. And I know a lot of us who have fascial tightness and adhesions, how it feels almost like creaky, right? Like almost cracky and creaky.
Yeah, in massage we talk about getting out the crunchies.
Right.
You can feel it. You can feel it breaking up. You can feel where spots, like you got to go over a little extra to break that crunchy up.
Yep. A lot of it's dehydration, but a lot of it, I believe, has to do, for certain people at least, which are growing in number, mold colonization and the subsequent oxalate formation and infestation of the tissues. Severe oxalosis with systemic manifestations, hyperoxalia and PEG in Miralax. That's the study we were talking about with Crystal earlier. Oxalates, the hidden dangers in healthy superfoods. High oxalate, a major factor in tissue and blood vessel health, because once these crystals release themselves into your bloodstream or are injected into your bloodstream, they wreak havoc on the endothelial lining of your vasculature, which will sometimes become really rubbery and build up, scar tissue in reaction to a chronic state of oxalosis due to fungal infection or brain fart. But chronic state of oxalosis due to fungal infections or high oxalate diet. That's what I was going to say. Blood vessel health, leaky vasculature, same thing as leaky blood-brain barrier, leaky gut. These are all membranes, and they're generally fairly strong, but there are things that damage them. And it seems the IEEE is well aware of that because they want in, under the skin, thieves in the temple. Candida overgrowth and oxalate production, the overlooked connection. We've been talking about that too. But these are all articles. If you want to dig into some of this research, they're all linked, like BOOMA said.
Yep, they're linked either in the description or as a posted pinned comment underneath the video, so you guys can have access to them and nerd out. you could be just like a Charley, a Captain Charley.
Aaargh.
Come on, gotta do a little better than that.
Aaargh.
So freaking lame. Oh my god. I don't even know why we're doing pirate thing when you can't even do it. Makes me sad.
Are you too
Black
sad,
moldy beard,
Charlie?
black moldy beard, fighting black moldy beard.
Arrgh. Get down deep. Dig deep.
Yep. Find it. It's like you just got to get it deep in the chest and bring it out.
If I do it deep, it'll make my voice crack, and then I'll cough, I think. Aaargh. Aaargh. See, I can't do it.
Do it again. Now do it.
Do it again.
She hates when I go intense close up. She hates that.
I hate it.
All right.
We love you, Charlie.
God bless you. All right.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
next slide, we get to see. Y'all remember Popeye, right?
Right.
Popeye the Sailor Man with his spinach. Spinach is a very, very high oxalate food, and it's meant to be eaten in moderation at best traditionally, and always with dairy, because the oxalic acid.
Dairy?
Well, listen, the oxalic acid in spinach is it binds. All oxalic acid binds with different minerals, and it binds to calcium. So you in the dairy, when you have creamed spinach or buttered spinach, so you can excrete it better instead of it just going right into your tissues or your gut lining. So that's one way to mitigate oxalates, is to eat them with dairy. Another way to help lessen the hit is with taking citrates, like a magnesium or a potassium or calcium citrates. They're really well known for breaking up and eliminating the oxalate crystals and keeping them from becoming too problematic long term. For instance, in Greece, there was a study. Traditionally, the Greek eat their spinach creamed with cream or cooked with cream, and they noticed, or they did a study on people who ate dairy-free spinach versus people who had their spinach with their dairy. And the people who were dairy-free were the ones developing kidney stones. They were dairy-free because of lactose intolerance, but they were still eating the spinach, the same high levels of spinach that was traditional in the Greek diet, but without the dairy, and having the subsequent kidney stones as a result, whereas the people who were having cream spinach did not. Sorry, that felt entirely redundant, but anyways, you can see some high oxalate foods down at the bottom there. This is not to say these are all evil, bad foods that you can never eat, unless you're in hyperoxaluria or whatever, and you're having kidney stones regularly. Then you're going to really want to back away from this stuff, at least for the time being. But these are all foods that are promoted as superfoods very heavily. Not on this list here is turmeric. Turmeric is very high. Not the curcumin in the turmeric, just the turmeric root in and of itself is, I did myself in pretty bad with oxalates, juicing turmeric for a while. I now only take curcumin when I need inflammation relief, as opposed to the whole root. Although in small doses, it's fine. Once again, like there's a tolerance that everybody has. I just went too far, like a lot of people do who are, trying to make healthy choices, the spinach smoothies, just a combination of all these foods build up and can cause problems. cheese is good for you, biscuits. That's good.
Right.
For
And he does it
safety.
for safety purposes.
That's right.
Of course.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Eat cheese.
So
But yeah, we often are getting misinformation, right? So then you start getting into a fad, or you start trying to like be healthier, and the next thing you know, you're brought into another area of like, why do I feel like shit?
people are blowing stones.
Do more research, and you start. That's what my mom does all the time is research and stuff. And someone will come out with like an idea of like what's healthy or whatnot, and she'll be like, BS. She called some earlier stuff out when I was with Jeannie Defraud. And I thought he was onto something. I thought he had all this, information, blah blah. I trusted him and whatnot, and she turned out to be absolutely right on a lot of things.
Wow.
People got to do their own research, man. That's what we're trying to do. Like we were saying, we put a lot of the information in the description and as a pinned comment, so people can get to access that information themselves. I've also been seeing a lot of great shares in the live chats. That's why it's great if you can make it to these live. I usually sort of post it ahead of time so people will know it's coming up. Some people don't get their notifications. I can't do a whole lot about that. I put notifications out on the Telegram, but a lot of people don't want to do Telegram. So there's that. But we try to put out the notifications every Tuesday. I've been doing shows at 6 p.m. Central, or if you got JK, you're doing at 12 p.m. Central. But usually it depends. On Sundays now, we're going to be doing pretty much regular shows, a lot of these kind of panels and streamers. So try to get to these if you can live, because a lot of the people in the chat really know what they're talking about and have been through some of these things where they've had to do their own research because shit went wrong when they thought they were doing the right thing. It's crazy. You get caught up in some of this stuff, and next thing you know, you're like, oh my gosh, that's why I'm not responding. And everybody's got a little bit different of body type. Some people who can handle this stuff. Man, I grew up with a guy, his dad used to have a dip in his lip of chewing tobacco, a cigarette in one hand, a beer in the other. Every once in a while, he put down a beer so that he could take a bite of a sausage. No sides, no nothing. Just eating straight up sausage. And he was just perfectly fine health all the fucking time.
We have to remember, too, you guys, that when everybody had a healthy gut lining, oxalates were not as big a deal, because there's certain bacteria that are natural in the gut that have always been throughout history there, that because everybody's gut is so depleted now, we don't carry them as natural strains. You have to take them extra or try to build them up out of fermented foods and hope for the best. But because of that, what used to be an automatic that your body would do to handle the oxalate load, we no longer have as an automatic. So that's just something else.
But on the same token, how much more of back in the day did they have a lot more fermented foods with every meal? Because
Absolutely.
I remember my mom used to pickle everything, and we used to always have some sort of fermented food with our supper because it was known to be healthy.
Yep, I agree. Exactly, Slam. Everybody ate fermented foods. Everybody ate things like sauerkraut and pickles and pickled carrots, pickled beets, everything. And then we got away from that. And then people still make the mistake too, is they'll go get the powdered vegetable or the powdered freeze-dried, and they think that it's the same, but they don't understand that the actual process of processing the food the old ways is what made it even more healthy for your body to do what it needed to do naturally. So then when you pack it with these heavy vitamin K foods, heavy oxalate foods, your body could handle it no problem and take from it what it needed and yet be protected with the other. So
yeah, and I think that was probably the case more too before the EMFs,
Yes.
The EMFs antagonized the molds, which antagonized the oxalates, which infiltrated the temple, which caused a general weakening of the human species, or a degeneration, entropy, neurodegeneration, all the degenerations.
Degenerations, right.
We're in an entropic state at the moment, and we're doing our best to, navigate that and endure to the end. And God's design is freaking miraculous. Like you said, we had the microbiome to once degrade oxalates. Cows have it.
Yes.
But humans, we had less of it, and now most of us have none of it.
Exactly.
Oxalobacter is the name of the microbe that would break
In the
down
gut. Yes.
oxalates in the gut, but we don't have that anymore. And you can buy it in Europe, but you can't buy it. Not in the United States. They're like, eat your crystal shards, assholes. We're trying to get into your fucking neurons, motherfuckers.
Truth.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So
Go look at pictures of the beach in the 80s, I think it is. You can go back to like the 80s and everybody looks pretty fit and doing well. And now it's
Healthy.
like a completely different story. They have really done a number on us here in America.
Yes, they have.
All right, where are we at? What are we doing? Stay on schedule. Gotta stay on the schedule.
got the why have oxalates become such a big problem? I'll just read, you can stay on that slide. I'm just going to read this one thing. Mainstream marketing of healthy superfoods that we knew caused harm 100 years ago, which is one reason oxalates are now a big problem. Like we were just saying with crystal, EMFs and frequencies caused mold and mycotoxins to proliferate at an unprecedented rate, provoking endogenous oxalate production. And then, of course, the PEG, the ethylene glycol, degrading to oxalates, injected into our bodies. All right, so metals and metalloids, the transformation by microorganisms, that's like the sort of alchemy, I kind of see it as, of the microbes. Calcium oxalates crystals are commonly associated with free-living pathogenic and plant symbiotic fungi and are formed by the reciprocation of solubilized calcium as the oxalate. Fungal-derived calcium oxalate, mold-derived oxalates, can exhibit a variety of crystalline forms. Tetragonal, bipyramidal, plate-like, rhombohedral, or needles. Fungi can also produce other metal oxalates with a variety of different metals and metal binding minerals. Copper, zinc, combined with a bunch of stuff. The formation of metal oxalates may provide a mechanism whereby fungi can tolerate environments containing potentially high concentrations of toxic metals. So the formation of metal oxalates make it a hospitable place for fungi to hang out, even if it's metal toxic, even if it's tissues loaded with heavy metals. They won't irritate the fungi. They can maintain. So just another example of, you know, iron and clay might not cleave, but fungi might. Fungi's tight. I'm joking there, but you know, fungi is insidious. It gets into all the nooks and crannies. It's real good to have an awareness of this, because we hyperfixate so much on bacteria and viruses, big spiky viruses, right? They want us fixated on kill the bacteria, kill the parasite, kill the virus. But you know, this mold is the ultimate consumptive force, and it's wise to keep it in balance and to be aware of it in your body and in your home, especially now that it's being antagonized and proliferating like mad because of frequency. We can move to the next slide. This was very interesting. Pardon the toilet flushing in the background.
Awkward, very, very awkward, but real.
The hidden risks. Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. MRIs. Okay. The hidden risks of MRI contrast agents. This was a study done last year by the Call for Safer Imaging, UDS Health Clinical Review Team. Nanoparticles and oxalic acid. So gadolinium ions released from MRI contrast agents bind with oxalic acid to form gadolinium oxalate nanoparticles. These particles have shown the potential to infiltrate tissues and resist elimination. That's what they want. And incite inflammatory or fibrotic responses. They want it seems to me. Whatever these meta or nano materials or fungi or SynBio that they're putting in us to stay put, to stay in us, to the best of their ability. And I have a theory this may or may not extend to like the area of our detoxification systems intracellularly, like our methylation pathway and our transsulfation pathways. Those are pathways that our body depends on for detoxifications of things like heavy metals and molds and mycotoxins and wastes, metabolic waste products. But if those pathways are gummed up, then this shit stays in you, which I think they want. So my theory is they've targeted the methylation and transsulfation pathways so that they're genes. MTHFR, a lot of people have probably heard of the MTHFR gene, methyl tetrahydroxyfolate receptor, I believe. It deals with the B vitamin folate. That's been gummed up. And so 40% of people have a mutation in the MTHFR gene, which means they have problems with detoxification. Almost all autistic children have at least one MTHFR mutation, which is very telling. But what a convenient thing to make bodies or to engineer bodies to not be able to detoxify and kick out the shit that they want in. MTHFR mutation, that's just sort of my thinking there. The interaction between gadolinium-based contrast agents and oxalic acid poses significant health risks, including the formation of toxic nanoparticles. So when you hear people talking about gadolinium toxicity and poisoning, I don't know if anybody in the panel or chat has that experience. And if you do, I'm sorry, it's horrible. But people who are oxalate toxic cannot handle MRIs well, at least not contrast imaging, because of the dyes, because of the gadolinium binding with oxalic acid and causing neuroinflammation. So yet another reason to be aware of oxalates, so that you don't slip into the super healthy club of consume all the oxalates because you're going to live forever and accidentally poison the shit out of yourself with oxalic acid crystals. So yeah, I think that's it before we move on to Morgellons. But I mean, Morgellons, I just have a short video to share. And there's an image that if you want to use for the discussion later.
This is your chance to redeem yourself, Charlie. You have to say this in your Captain Charlie pirate voice.
Okay. Morgellons SynBio.
Hey, that was better.
It was better. Okay. All right. I'll continue to work on it.
Yeah, your microphone popped out a little bit there, but I like it. I like it. We can work with that. All right.
Yeah, I guess it's better. It's better.
Morgellons SynBio.
Yeah, you do have to say
like housekeeping.
Morgellons instead of Morgellons, huh?
Yeah, the little intro that I made, it says more. It's funny because I don't. Is it Morgellons?
It's piratey when you say Morgellons. I prefer it.
Well, what
it sounds
is there
cool.
a proper way to say? Is it Morgellons or Morgellons?
Oh, I don't know. I've heard people say it both ways.
Charlie, you need to say it the way you typed it.
What?
When you sent me the title, you need the way you typed it. Say it the way that you typed it. What was in your head.
Mold, maladies, and Morgellons are.
There you go.
Yes.
Is that good?
Guess who's here? Show them what you got. Show.
Hey,
Here you go.
What's up,
Juxta.
Juxta?
there you go,
There
sir.
you
Look,
go,
she still
Juxta.
supports you.
You said that one great though. See, we're getting somewhere. We're
Yep.
getting somewhere. I
Yep,
think
I'm
they're turning.
getting
I think they said that they're turning CERN off. Did they really do that, or did they just tell the public they're turning it off? They're probably turning it up. Anyways, let's get into this. Okay, so we got this that you wanted to share, and then we got a video, right? Coming up.
Yeah, it's just a video and a slide. That's all I have left, except for just sort of a closing thing later.
Excellent. Let's check this out. All right.
Years ago, I had a very controversial condition, which I originally thought was psychosis. Has had more research done on it, but I want to talk about it because it seems like pretty much everyone who has this is kind of like just deemed crazy. So it's called Morgellons disease. Just an FYI, National Institute of Health has actually looked into this, and I also have my own test results to kind of complement, I should say, some of these findings. So I'll tell you what happened to me. It was pretty interesting. Not familiar with this condition. It is a condition where it causes a lot of like an itching and a stinging sensation under the skin. Best way I can describe it is it feels like something's crawling on you under your skin and feels like you're being stung by bees from inside your body. Kind of these like wounds appear. They look very similar to like the wounds that people get from like using meth. You're not creating the injury. Does that make sense? It almost kind of like makes a little like bump, and then that turns into like a scab and whatever. And here's the really weird part. The wounds, oftentimes fibers will emerge out of them. Usually multicolored fibers that look like textile fibers, like reds, blues, etc. Years ago, when these symptoms appeared, I was very, very ill. I was severely immunocompromised because my health was very bad. I was on a ton of medication to suppress my immune system. I also had the understanding that long-term use of high doses of corticosteroids can cause psychiatric problems. Needless to say, as someone who was fighting for my life for many years, I was very stressed out. When I started experiencing this itching and stinging under my skin, I assumed it was some sort of neuropathy or something like that until I started developing these wounds. Now, these wounds would not heal. Over time, I began noticing that sometimes when I would feel a stinging sensation under my skin, kind of like somebody's like poking a safety pin out from underneath your skin, if I would observe that area, some sort of fibers would kind of emerge from beneath my skin. At that point, I was like, oh, this is clearly some sort of psychosis. I'm just going to keep this shit to myself. The itching and the stinging was getting worse and worse and worse. You can't sleep. That's the biggest thing. You can't sleep. I do believe there are people who think they have this condition, but they don't have this condition. But in my case, I was able to get proof that I had it. Time goes on and I clearly seem very unwell. I'm not sleeping at all. And my mom could tell that I was not being forthcoming with her regarding something going on in my life. And in her experience, it usually was relative to my health. My mom kept crying and I was like, look, I'm going to be straight up with you. I think the stress and all the steroids are getting to me because I have something weird going on, but I don't think it's actually going on. So I told her and she said, well, is there anything that you can do to kind of encourage these fibers to come out of your skin? And I said, there's a few things I found. I did one of those things in front of her and I just kind of sat there and let her stare. And she was like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm crazy. She's like, what the hell is that? I thought she was going to be like, girl, there's nothing there. But she was like, what the fuck is that? She immediately was like, we need to go to the doctor. Thank God my primary care physician at the time was very good, very understanding, and also was a generally just curious guy. I told him about what I was experiencing and he said, you had Lyme disease for quite a long time, right? And I said, well, yeah. He retested me for Lyme disease. I had the titers, but did not have an active infection. He decided the best route was to do a skin biopsy because he actually took the time to observe for himself using, it kind of looked like a jewelry loop or something, really, and he's like, there are definitely fibers in there, but it could be, if it was an existing scab, it's like, of course, textile fibers can get, stuck in there. So, that wasn't really any sort of proof of anything, right? I've actually got a few scars on my body from where this is one of them. This is one of those wounds that wouldn't heal. He took a puncture biopsy. It goes way down into your skin. It's like a hole punch for your skin, right? And he sent it off to a lab. Results were interesting. you would have what you would expect, right? You know, histamine reaction going on, an immune system reaction going on. Obviously, there's some sort of thing going on that's irritating that area of the skin. So that's all pretty expected. They did find deep in the skin, not in like the epidermis, but in the deeper levels of the skin, they did note fibers. They tested the fibers. Now, while these fibers were partially keratin and collagen in nature, I have a connective tissue disorder, which affects collagen anyway. So like, you know, whatever. Keratin is what your hair is made out of. However, the rest of whatever these fibers were compromised of, they said were unknown etiology, meaning we don't know what the fuck these are, right? They did say they are not textile fibers. And they said they were coming from within a lower level of my skin. So it wasn't like they had gotten in there. It was like they were coming from within my skin. Incidentally, my primary care physician at the time was familiar with this very controversial topic of Morgellons disease. He was like, I don't know if this is real or not. It seems like kind of a crackhead thing. To be fair, a lot of the times it does. He's like, but it seems like a common thread may be Lyme disease, because there was, I think the name came from like years ago, there was a disease that was affecting livestock, like cows. And they would have these wounds that would appear in these like spiky fibers and shit would start growing out of these wounds. And it was some kind of like tick-borne illness, like Borrelia or something, that was fucking up their collagen and keratin production and making these like, basically what would be normal skin cells or hair cells, like kind of like rapidly multiply. So you get these really sharp, thick strands of what would normally be a normal hair or skin cell just kind of poking through the skin. He put me on a very high dose of doxycycline for quite a while, but it went away. The lab was like, there are fibers, some are translucent, some are red, and some are blue. There also seemed to be some kind of fungal component to it. By that, I mean they were reactive to light, which they, I guess, tested out the lab. If they used a certain kind of light, they would move. As for the pigment, the bright red and bright blue color of these fibers, the lab had indicated that that was part of the component of the unknown etiology, meaning they don't know exactly what this other component of the structure is. But my doctor had suggested keratin and collagen, you know, that's part of obviously your skin. Your skin has varying levels of melanin, which is what gives your skin its color, your hair its color, your eyes their color. And he suggested that, in his opinion, there's a possibility that because this anomaly is occurring at such a deep level of the skin and is affecting these keratin cells at such a premature stage, that perhaps it is impacting the color development of these cells. Whereas, you know, normally my hair is black basically. So like normally it would come out as a black hair, but you know, it's a premature cell, something's impacting it, you know, so now maybe it could be blue or red or whatever the fuck, green, who knows, right? That was his hypothesis. However, my understanding is they're still not entirely sure why these fibers are generally blue and red. Creepy as fuck, dude. I really was like hoping that it was all in my head, honestly. I thought I had delusional parasitosis, which is when people think there are bugs under their skin when there's not. There are some people who actually have this. I also think being itchy will drive anyone nuts, accompanied with the sleep deprivation, because every time you fall asleep, you feel like there's fucking bees stinging you. You know, I think people get loopy. I think for the people who actually do have this, they start to seem a little nuts. I mean, observe anyone who has not slept in a long time. They do not seem sane. I think the itching makes you more agitated. Additionally, I think people are desperate for answers. And, you know, if you're just up all night, and the only answers available are like weird Reddit threads or something about nanotechnology or shit, yeah, people are probably going to go off the deep end because they want answers, because they don't want to be itchy no more. So I don't think the sleep deprivation helps anyone's case who really does have this, because it does make you go insane eventually, because you can't fucking sleep, right? My biopsies and stuff are part of a research study on it. I think it's National Institute of Health or something. There are places investigating this. I don't know. I don't know if there's any updates or not. For a while, they would update me here and there, but that was years ago. I don't even think I have that email address anymore, so who knows? But so anyway, I had that condition. I don't know what it is still, but I've had it and now I don't. So there you go. There's my story about when there were fibers growing out of my skin. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Years ago,
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Lovely. It made me think of what we were talking about earlier with The Last of Us and like these little tentacles and stuff that come out of their freaking mouths.
Yeah.
They depict this stuff, and this is what you'll see with the fungus. They call it like cordyceps or whatever, cordyceps infection or whatever, of these people that become zombie-like, and they infect each other with these fibers that come out of their mouths. You can see it there in a way depicted. This is freaky stuff, and some people would just call it like ridiculous, and it's just like they used to do it with Lyme disease. If people had Lyme disease, they just laugh you out of the freaking hospital or the medical facility and be like, you're out of your mind, give you some psych meds and tell you that you're not feeling what you're feeling. And then this situation, I mean, like they literally have pictures all over the place, fibers coming out, like she said, blue and red. Someone was saying they look like the fibers you'll find in money. Interesting enough. But yes, it's
yeah.
I know I can attest to like that itchy, burning, like neuropathy type pain that, you know, she's kind of describing, because it definitely does happen to me because of my neck and my issues. And so it's enough to drive you nuts, and it does flare up at night, and it does flare up when I get like overly heated, and that's when my arms will feel like they're on fire to the point where I need ice packs to cool them down. But yeah, I can relate to what she's talking about. I don't think it's Morgellons, but I know, I'm pretty sure mine's from something else. But yeah, it's like I get it.
right.
I get the lack of sleep. I get the burning sensation under the skin, the crawling, neuropathic like pain. Yeah.
I think a lot of people do understand it. I think more and more neuropathy is such a big deal. I know my mom always felt like there were things crawling in her, and just like everything was burning her. That did stop after we got her out of the frequency, though. Not that that would be the case for everybody, but once we got her out of a Wi-Fi living space, and she didn't complain about that at all, not even once.
Neuropathy has also become the catchphrase, just like we were talking about, Charlie, that everything that burns and hurts in your skin now is neuropathy. And they're telling 20-year-olds they have neuropathic pain. And it's like, no, their nerves are irritated because they can still feel their skin. That would be the difference. And
right, and then they just give a prescription medication.
Yes. I sent a thread to Charlie where there are people on Reddit all day long bringing up the correlation between calcium oxalates, frequency, Morgellons, and Lyme disease. So there is something there, you guys, definitely, because it's not one or two people. I've seen it on multiple places, but Reddit seems to be the place that people get together and talk about it the most. But makes sense.
Is Reddit not as like censored or something?
It's different because it's more of a forum.
Yeah, there's forums and stuff on there, but it's I don't know who's in charge of it now. It was very liberal at one point, and then the Q stuff really ran through there in the beginning, and then we really started shutting down a lot of that stuff. The meme stock thing was running through Reddit hardcore, and they shut a lot of that stuff down. But it's the same thing with like YouTube and all these platforms. All of a sudden, it seems like they're being more. I mean, they're allowing more stuff, but I keep saying I think it's because they're cocky at this point. They feel like they got us, and they are data mining and
data dredging
who is driven to what, and they are documenting it all. Their data centers and our little digital twins are being populated faster than they've ever been before.
Right, and they want to, like, if they're going to do an experiment, let's say we're beta testing, and they're going to put it out, and then they're going to allow all this data in so they can document it, and we're just test subjects, really. So they get all their information on how to improve, what to work on, what, you know, why doesn't certain things work on certain body types, and and all of that. And it's too late now, right? So there's no going back. So they might as well just disclose it now, you know, drip by drip. But if they did it all at once, that would cause too much chaos all at once. So, but we were more heavily censored, you know, a few years ago. Now they're just like, what is that, the floodgates that they were talking about? They, you know, they're talking about drip, 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 flood. Maybe they're talking about information and not what they were saying, because there's always truth in what they say. It's just that you got to figure out which part is what part are you telling the truth. The truth is drip, 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 flood. That's the truth. The truth is
the
it takes a village. The lie is it takes them, you know, their way.
But is the information overload enough to cause everybody to keep fighting?
Well, I mean, yeah, because there's so many different.
They've realized that too many people are fighting
over
the information that is partially out there that's truth, and so then they're like, okay, hey, it's causing them to do these things emotionally, so let's keep poking the bear.
It's part of the beta testing. So they put the beta testing out. They collect their what works, what doesn't, where they can, you know, apply a little more pressure on that seems to work. The drip, drip, and then the flood.
Yeah, I look at it like a human experiment. They put some stuff out there, see how the public reacts, and then they'll pull back. They'll give us something. They'll spread some bullshit, you know, like we're gonna audit Fort Knox. Never happened. We're gonna end all the wars. Now we're in more wars than we've seen in modern times. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Nothing freaking happens. We're gonna release the Epstein files. Nothing freaking happens. They just do that.
Discussing something else.
See what happens. See how the public reacts to this. They just keep doing
just like voting. You know, you're taking a survey. That's how I see voting. You're basically, it's a survey because they're going to do what they want to anyway. There's so many things just in this state alone where it's been voted out. Like, we don't want this. And they spend millions or billions of dollars anyway. That big Bertha project and all that stuff, the light rail got voted down. They did it anyway. Because once they spend a certain amount of money into not investigating, but like whatever they're doing to figure out cost and all that stuff, then it's like, whoa, gone this far. That's just that's my own opinion on it. But and because ultimately they are the ones that have all the money to do this stuff. They're the ones that get to decide what gets done and what doesn't. Not us.
You guys are all going to laugh because our current city right now, in our current water system, they're looking at the city is essentially not allowed to vote on the adding fluoride to the water. You like all the studies in the states doesn't matter. We voted it out. So what they did is they turned around and decided not to give the people the chance to vote for it. So now they're pushing it through regardless of whether we want it or not. So that's what they're starting to do, is realize if we vote for it, then it won't get in. So they're just taking away your right to vote for it.
Well, and they always reserve the right to change their mind, right? So they can say, oh, we're going to do this for this specific reason, this amount of money, blah, 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 blah. And then, oh, but we're doing our best. And this came up and, you know, because there's always going to be a loophole for them to jump through. That's already taken care of before they even start to delegate who's going to do what, before they even decide who's going to be what part of the whatever it is they're working on. Lawfare is taken care of. So,
right. And I've heard Sabrina and Juxtaposition both say that everything's already in place. They can pull what we might know of as Agenda 2030 at any moment now. Now they're just redundancy and and any time. So that's why I feel like they're at the point where they have it in the bag, in the sense that they could, if we woke up or enough people got awakened to all this and started doing something, which I don't even think you can do anything, but some people will say it's a collective and yada yada. I'm not saying that, you know, there's no hope, but at the same time, like, something happens, they can shut off the internet, they can do a cyber attack and make, like they said at the WEF, make COVID look like child's play. They can shut down anything. They can turn off anyone. They can cause anybody to have a heart attack. They can mass kill a ton of people. We can have this conversation, and I'm not here to like black pill, hope, no fear, and all that kind of stuff. That's how we started this. Do not panic. I'm just saying, like, the signs are there. The reason they're allowing us to say the things like what we're saying on these podcasts, and they're not taking these things down right away, like, is a sign that, you know, they feel like they got it in the bag and they could pull whatever they need to pull in order to stop us if enough people really did. And they can monitor the whole thing because they got the whole system set up to monitor where people are at and the social sentiment.
Right. But if you're going to build something, I don't care what it is. It could be a business. It could be a building. You have infrastructure. You have to take care of that first. You have to get permits. You have to get the plans in place. You have to have plans made for the building that you're going to build. I mean, it has to all be in line. And they're not going to, the only people that are involved in all of that are the people that are putting the money into it, their time into it.
Totally. But that's not to say that we can't mitigate the little bits that we can here and there to make it to be the best that we can for what situation or wherever we are in, right? And I think that's what Charley was trying to say. And it's what Sabrina says all the time. Like, what works for you, Charley, doesn't necessarily work for me, or what works for Crystal doesn't necessarily work for BOOMA. So it's a matter of how is it affecting me and my environment right now, and what can I do to change within my environment to make my life better for the moment, because it is about survival.
Right. And that's why we're focusing on things like this now, instead of focusing on all the drama bullshit that they want us to.
Yep.
We'll call it out like it is. It's bullshit drama. It's there's no reason to be afraid of it. You should be aware of everything so that you aren't scared when something happens. You go, oh shit, that's what that is. Okay. Because you cannot make good decisions when you're scared. And I want whatever the opposite is that they want. So if they want me to be afraid.
And we have to be the adults now.
Right.
You know,
nobody's going to come save us. You know, we can help each other, but we can't even save each other, really. I mean, we can try and help each other to try and mitigate, but ultimately you're on your own for the most part, so, and that's not, again, to be fearful. It's just so that you can be aware, so you can get in the proper mindset and take care of business and not focus on all this other garbage. Focus on mitigation, focus on what works for you and your environment. We all live in a different part of the world for a lot of people those in this community, which is fabulous.
And that's why these channels won't grow. Like they'll only get so big, and like even as many subs as like jumped onto the YouTube. A lot of that was Sabrina Wallace, and there were bigger numbers. Like in the beginning, people were interested in this. It's just the algorithms are throwing stuff in their faces. You might start watching something like this and be interested, and then see the length of it or something like that, and then you just won't invest. You won't pay attention because you'll get thrown a short or a quick crack fix of dopamine into your feed, and you'll get pulled away. You'll get a notification. Oh, this person posted, and it's just something stupid, just like Juxtaposition saying here. Overall, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, most people do not give a fuck. They are still talking about the dumbest shit you can imagine. They're still participating in political theater, which is like Mike Gill and all these guys. I don't care. Mike Gill calls all these guys Mike Gill, the Q-tards. All these people are still pushing that stuff. Once I realized that it was all a sham, and it took me a little while, and I was taking my time with this, and I thought I weighed things objectively, and I thought I did it in a careful manner as far as like things that I didn't want to see. And if this happened, this happened, this. And when I first started working with Juxtaposition, he did not like me bringing up Trump. And I was still kind of like, well, don't you think he might be doing this and that? And now I'm like, fuck Trump, fuck them all. It's all a joke. It's all a sick game. And here we are. Now, some people woke up to this a long time ago, and some people are just waking up now. So if I can be a little bit of an assistance for people that are with me on like at this point where we finally realize like, yes, all the red flags got checked. All those boxes that we had for ourselves in our mind. We were holding on to a little bit of hopium that there were some good guys out there trying to do something good. No, it's us. And now we do the best that we can to educate, to create as much community as possible, and then just spread mitigation tactics and things that we can do so that we can protect ourselves and our families to the best of our abilities. But just being realistic is not blackpilling. Fucking be aware about what's going on out there.
And what I'd really like to do, Dorian, if this is okay with you, is I had too many slides, but I had more. So I'd like to do maybe just an hour show where we could just focus on the sort of mindful mitigation we can do in a lot of places, because I see Pamela in the chat saying, I got to buy a grounding sheet. I'm tired of spending money on this stuff. I have no money coming in and I'm too ill to do anything. See, this is who I want to try to reach, because no, you don't need to buy a grounding sheet. there are things you can do to make yourself feel better than investing in these things. Real things that will make measurable and meaningful difference for free. So I want to have a discussion about that, because I think we all are scared by this shit. We're traumatized. And so we want to fix it. We want to buy something. We want to throw money at it and just like make it go away, because we feel we're infested. We're being hit from all sides, that, get it out, kill it, block it, and that's, the mindset can be very psychologically claustrophobic.
And that's by design too, Charlie, because they feel like if they get people paralyzed, doesn't really even matter the emotion, whether that's fear, whether that's anxiety, then they'll stop trying to do anything to fight back. And that's general apathy, which is everything these systems builds and works towards that's against us, is general apathy, to not care, to go along with whatever you're pushed or nudged to do. And so it's better, like you said, to take things as cheaply as possible, just the down home, down to the bare tax. What can we do? And for every person, it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
and
why
we can test it out on each other. We can talk about it. We can share. So
this community, like, we have such an opportunity during this time where everybody's selling shit to be like, let's be the antithesis of that. Let's just make more mindful choices than panic. Let's have discussions about meaningful things that we can do without leaning into the fear and giving into the marketing that's coming at you, using Satan's tactics, scaring the shit out of you to get you to buy something. These are, we can, I mean, if I could say like 3 things that I would take with you tonight, would be go low sugar in your life, just for shits and giggles. It's smarter. Doesn't mean you can never have sugar, but lowering sugar, you're not going to be feeding any fungal infestations, right? And it's also damaging for other reasons. Reducing your Wi-Fi exposure, whether that means turning off your meter at night, or having your phone or devices on airplane. That's another free and meaningful thing you can do. Let's see.
Sabrina put out something. She was talking about not having a metal bed frame. Damn it. I got a metal bed frame.
Yeah. Pilo is totally free. Speaking of Sabrina, Pilo is free. That's huge.
Drowning outside in the dirt is free.
Yeah. Not eating stuff that you know is going to make you feel like shit later is free. You actually save money generally by not eating things that make you feel like shit. And then, I mean, the thing is eating shit and pointing at chemtrails, we can't do that. We can mitigate things in our own mindset, our own choices. And those are the hardest ones to do, because like we're trying to pacify through this fucking madness. Also, we're all traumatized,
right?
So you got to be gentle with yourself. Don't go full throttle. That perfection is the enemy of awesome, right? Take one step. Just start by reducing your sugar, or start by shutting off your Wi-Fi at night. These are actual things that will help you more than throwing $600 at some product. I always say, people buy these cell phone covers and in cases and stuff, but they don't work, first of all. But they're bathing in frequencies and investing in things to make themselves feel better, or to mitigate those frequencies without getting rid of the device that's putting those frequencies out there. We're not getting rid of it, shutting it down even, or keeping it at bay, because those fields, as we know, we've learned today, are absolutely exasperating the molds in our homes and and causing fuzzy thinking. Okay. So I'm trying to light a fire under people to just say, like, hey, look at the stuff that's right there, right in front of you that you can do. Like we said, we can't do anything about the underground magnets. Prayer and Pilo, that works. But these are, let's see, there's one more thing that I had. Keeping your home low humidity, if you can. Whether that means for you getting a dehumidifier, some people have that, and some people just ventilate their houses really well. Keep areas of stagnancy moving, you know.
Drink enough water, because nobody does. This is something you find. Makes a big difference.
Yeah. Good water, if you can, you know.
And of course, Margaret has to say, tickle your own pickle. I think that's important. So,
Of course. Leave it to Margaret. Make sure you laugh and sing and dance. Do things that you enjoy. Go out in nature.
Oxytocin for the win, right?
Hug a
Oxytocin for the win, baby.
A good tree, yeah.
Who else wants oh no, I can't even think of the name of the book, but basically a meal plan from Charley. I want Charley to put together a freaking meal plan.
She's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I know.
I started
looking at you like, wait, what did you just sign me up for?
Don't worry, we only have, now we're going to have to do part 3 of this, which will be great because we'll talk about mitigation and all that stuff like she brought up. But then we got Masters of the Universe, Paranormal. We got all these things planned. You got to go through the unofficial secretary, which is Heather. She's trying to keep track of all this stuff. But yes, I would like you know, some suggested meal plan action.
Well,
I started one for you last time you asked me that, and I didn't finish it, but I definitely will add it to just sort of like my own, the diet that works for me. It will not work for everybody. Just because it doesn't apply to everybody doesn't mean it can't be applicable in the future to some situation. But you know, I will share my own personal preferences. And I think we can sort of caveat the whole show with a disclaimer that says, you know, none of this is medical advice. Don't go buy shit because of any of us. You know, everybody's body is different. Somebody's cure will be another person's poison. You know, we have to be really smart about that.
If your instinct is telling you not to take something just because someone else is, listen to your instincts. It's your gut. When people say it's your last line of defense, the ultimate goal is to survive. It's what keeps you alive, what keeps you away from danger. And if you don't listen to that, that's when usually you get screwed or you get more sick or whatever. So take, you know, everything with a grain of salt. And we don't live in different parts of the world. You're going to have access to different things too. So just go with what, you know, resonates, if you will. As a lot of people say that, go with what resonates you. Read your labels, that kind of thing.
Right. I think it was Aaron asking where can we find Charley. Charley is just part of the community. Like if you're in the Telegram, like she's in there and we all work together. I joke about the meal plan from Charley or whatever, but everybody can in the community can add what works for them. Some people have been doing things regularly to the point where it's like, what's your recipe? Give us a recipe that you'd have for dinner. Just give us one. And we just combine all this stuff. And we're not trying to put it like, I don't know, we make a PDF or something like that and put it out to people that are interested in something like that. But it's just suggestions. It's not like trying to make money or anything like that off of it. We're just trying to help people as much as we freaking can. And so when Charley had like some of these ideas for shows, I was like, freaking bring it. This is all I wanted to do was highlight other people, because I was doing shows and it was just kind of me, and I would just make videos and stuff like that. And then I'd see what people were putting in the comments. I was like, dang, I didn't even think about that. Or dang, you know more about this topic than I did. I just wanted to start the discussion. Now I'm having the actual discussion with the kind of people that would have been in the comment section, instead of the comments just being part of it now, it's like the real conversation. The people that have personal experiences, sometimes we've gone through shit with our health in order to come to these conclusions. Sometimes we've gone through shit with cults and psyops and supplements and things that were sold to us. Our bank accounts hurt because we've been trying all these things that they used fear to get us to buy. And so now it's like, okay, what really works, guys? Let's just talk about some of these things. And we're having these conversations now, and I hope it's helping people.
Yeah,
that's the prayer.
That's the hope. I mean, I've seen, because of how devastating some of these issues were to some people that I love and pets, like you learn the hard way some really shitty stuff that you just want to share with people so they don't have to walk that path too. Or maybe they're in that path and they now see a way out. Because a lot of people are struggling with mold right now, and it will fucking lay you on your ass, and it will devastate you neurologically and psychologically. So my heart wants to reach those people who need that extended information and a graceful way out of it instead of panic.
Absolutely. And I like the idea of doing a third show where we just kind of talk about mitigation and stuff like that, and people bring to the table. And if you're not comfortable with coming on the panel, that's no problem. Like just like people are doing, so much stuff's been added. So it's cool that YouTube will save the live chat. So the people on the YouTube side, anything that's shared in those will be saved, and you can go watch these videos and you can see what people are putting, because some people are putting some phenomenal stuff. I wish Rumble would save it. Unfortunately, it doesn't, but you'll see some stuff like on the screen here. I take it down sometimes because of stuff being shared on there. Unfortunately, Substack, those comments don't get saved, so we're missing out a little bit on that part of the community. But utilize what's also being talked about in the comment section. Some people are very versed in this stuff or have been through stuff. So like, we're trying to help people that are going through shit, but then like I was just doing some videos and stuff like that. We lost one of the cats, Stripes, but because of what Stripes went through, and even though we lost him, now we might be saving his younger brother and catching it early. So some people that are going through something where they don't know and they're getting it early, maybe we can stop them from going through the full troubles that some of the other of us have gone through, because I'm on since 2019, been dealing with some of the health issues that I've been having, and I'm still going through stuff, feeling things out, trying to figure out what's best for me in certain areas, thyroid stuff, and then the body issues and the various things I'm breaking up. And some of the stuff that's coming out of my body, the doctor thought it could be a fungus, tested it, wasn't fungal. I don't know what's going on. It might just be, pockets of I don't know. It's like acne, but it's like it wasn't there until I started breaking up the harder tissues and the deeper stuff that forms as you have injuries that build on top of injuries. Fascia is an interesting thing on how it builds on itself. There's a softer layer sometimes that makes it more like cushiony, and then there's harder layers, and then the deep layers are really hard. And so some of those are what I'm dealing with around the joints and stuff like that, because those are the ones that were first overly stretched, and now they've calcified or crystallized or whatever it is. And some of the stuff that we're talking about with oxalates and all that kind of stuff is contributing to making it even more difficult to get through these things at a much younger age than maybe they were dealing with in the past. I don't know. But yes, there's a lot of things out there that we can discuss about using. I've done a little MMS. I did so much of it that I was like, bleh. But then there's also MSM supplements. It's another sulfur-based thing. Not talking cures here. We're talking mitigation, talking about things that we've tried for us. And it's not for everybody, but MSM has really helped my mom with issues that she's had with pain with her back and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things we could talk about in the third episode. I look forward to that. So I'll let anybody that wants to say anything. Dawn, what you wanted to say anything based on what we talked about here today?
Well, I think it's very fascinating. I was absorbing like a little sponge and writing stuff down. So this is kind of above my pay grade, but sure. Just it totally makes sense. And yeah, it's just incredible, the levels. I don't know, just something so microscopic, just, and who'd have thunk mold and frequency could cause all this, but I'm just glad to be here and just sharing space with y'all and just learning. And everybody out there in YouTube land and Rumble, you're not alone. And we didn't ask for this or cause it. We're just being affected by it. So we got to do our best to do this to them all.
That's right.
Hey, Valia, it's good to see you. Yes.
That
and,
deserves a gong.
Yeah.
Oh, you want one of those? You want some
Yeah.
of that? You want some of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like bringing people on that are smarter than me. So I'm kind of like that's what I love about this. So I don't know when Charlie starts talking about some of the stuff just, but it connects into things, and so I just learn as I go. It's the same thing with Sabrina. A lot of that some of it goes over my head, but early on it was like what is this? And I worked with juxtaposition, learned some more stuff, but it was just like you just absorb stuff as it goes, and it gets a little easier. Having the courage to come on here and just be a part of this, because you never know when you might have something to jump in and throw at it, or a personal experience, or something that you know about somebody in your family that's going through something. The more you participate in these things, the more your voice has the opportunity to be heard, and the more that we can add to this conversation, the more the merrier. I really enjoyed this. You guys can continue talking for a little bit, and we can close this out. I do got to give Chip his medicine here in a little bit, so I'll just give you guys a heads up on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I appreciate all the knowledge, because there's even tidbits where, as Charlie's speaking, I'm going, oh, I connect the dots over here, and oh, I connect the dots over there, and it's like, well, what about this, or this? Oh, that explains a lot of this, and this. I knew fungus and mold and did damage to the body. I just didn't realize that EMF and fungus were correlated. So that's a huge connection. That's a mind blown. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's the way I felt about the correlation with Lyme disease. When I went and looked, I was blown away at how many people are bringing up those things in the same conversation, not scattered out separately, but especially yeast and an overgrowth of yeast, mold, Morgellons, and Lyme's disease, all in the same conversations almost every single time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Charlie, you have anything to say to close this out here, and then we'll look forward to another part 3, I guess, to this, and we'll figure out when we schedule that into the workings of everything. You're muted.
Sorry, my bad. My closing piece was just that final slide that I was in the thing.
The final one?
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull that up.
It's basically just a, oh yeah. Don't panic. Don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself, guys. And we are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed. It's okay that we're struck down. It's okay that we're crushed and perplexed. It's okay. We're all fucked up. The people on Instagram with their perfect lives, it's all bullshit, guys. Like, everybody's hit, everybody's suffering right now, and that should make us all real humble and gives us a real amazing opportunity to evolve as human beings in the correct, humble direction. So it's good. It's good that we're in the valley. It really is. So do not despair. That's all I got.
I love it. I appreciate this. And thank you, Monica. I appreciate people that do support this channel, keep this going so we can keep the community going, but try to keep as much of this information free and these conversations flowing. Thank you again, Charlie. This was awesome. Mold, maladies, and Morgellons, however you say it. Aaargh. And if you didn't catch the intro that I made, you're going to get it on the outro. But unless anybody else has anything to say, we'll say loved you all and give you an opportunity. Crystal, you got anything? Much love. Okay.
Much love, you guys. I think this is good. I think this is what we need to be doing. No, none of the crazy entertainment crap, but sharing ideas, sharing things at work so that we can try out different things and find what's best for each of us.
Absolutely. And Heather, thank you for putting this together. Heather helps a lot behind the scenes getting these panels put together and so that we get it all organized because I'm doing a lot. So I really appreciate your help. I think that'll be it for this one. Appreciate you all in the chat, though. This has been great. And I always enjoy us all getting together. Having these conversations is super important. But God bless you all and look forward to catching you on the next one. Peace.
God bless.
God bless.
Captain Charley grips the wheel, she's fiercer than they come. Leaves old Jack Sparrow in her wake when she beats that battle drum. Mold, maladies, and Morgellons. Captain Charley's battling black moldy bear.